word would fit, and then it just all fits together perfectly.
That's it. Yeah, and sometimes it comes so fast that you can't even write it down, right?
And then it just
Like,
all fits together perfectly. Yes, there are times when you just have to go with the flow of it. If you can frustrate the process, and I've done this talking about the fun of freestyle rhyming. I've gotten on stage where I'm freestyle rhyming, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I'm freestyle rhyming, and then the flow stops.
mm, yeah, the moment you
Or
think
I
about
could
it.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, the moment you think about it, and I heard somebody say this, so I love to use it. The moment your inner Woody Allen kicks in and starts to take the wheel, that's when you're gonna swerve.
Mm.
But if you just stay in the moment and enjoy the moment and go with the flow of it, then all of a sudden you're doing beautiful things. It's just stuff. It's creativity. It's flowing. It's just happening. You are at the moment where you're supposed to be, and so you're just going in the flow of it. So it's like some of it is you got to learn how to turn off that perennial cortex side of your brain, which is that inner critic, that critic that's constantly checking and rechecking everything. And it's like, no, just let it flow. Let improvisation take over and
Yeah.
just go with it and enjoy it.
Well, yeah, because
Enjoy the ride.
you're tapping into something greater. You're tapping into something bigger than yourself. And
Yeah.
just like you mentioned, using the metaphor with freestyling, there's so freestyling, or I freestyle right. So I'm writing a
Right.
song, and I know the next 6 bars, and I got to hurry up and write them down because I'm afraid to lose them, and
Yeah.
there's more coming in. So you're writing these down,
Yeah.
writing the lyrics.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to remember what was that? Okay, that was it, and you're writing it down, but more's coming, and so you can, as a channel for that information, you can only handle a process so much at once, right? For
That's right.
this
That's right.
this flow state that you're tapped into. I mean, think about, that's just us writing it down. We're pulling from the ethers, we're pulling from the imagination realm, and we're bringing it into this reality. Just think of, um, when you're meditating, and all of the inspiration and all of the ideas, and you're getting downloads. Like sometimes it's so weird because it's moving fast, all of this
Yes.
stuff, and there's no way that you
Yeah.
can bring all of this in. Like you can grab one thing, hold on to it, and wake up. Okay, I got it.
Right.
I'm taking this. If you're lucky, you may get more. I think you get better at it. I remember
Yes.
just
Yes.
tapping in deep a couple weeks ago, and I got like so many downloads of, like, breathing techniques and lyrics and things
Yeah,
I'm going to
man.
start. And I was able to pull like 7 things out and then expand on it once it's here, like a game plan or a vision. But
Wow. You
you
was
know,
able to pull seven.
yeah, I got a bunch of
I love
really
it.
cool stuff that I needed, man, and it was so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was reading this book. This is an interesting. Today is the 20th. Okay. And I got to try to see if I can remember where the scripture was, because I was always going to do, and I may still do it. I do these things called Proverbs Daily Blitz, where I'll just take one verse. So one of my rituals, my morning rituals, is I listen to scripture like first when I get up in the morning, and and not too TMA, but but I listen to it audibly. So I put the phone on my Bluetooth speaker. I get up in the morning, I jump in the shower, a cold shower, and I
Hmm.
do a cold shower because I want to awaken and enliven my senses, my body. And so I jump in that cold shower and I'm letting the scripture play. And this scripture came up on the 20th of Proverbs 20, and it talks about he that opens his eyes will have plenty of bread. That's what
Hmm.
it said in the ESV standard, English standard. He that opens his eyes will have plenty of bread. And I said, And I listened to it from another standard, another version. And the whole point was that, like, there is bread all around us, there is abundance all around
Hmm.
us. And God operates in abundance. I mean, I'm surrounded by trees right now. Think about how many, okay, I'm at this tree right here. I think this is a mulberry tree, okay? But let's just use our imagination, think it was an oak tree. Okay, I'm at this oak tree. How many acorns fall from this tree? Just because for the tree to be alive, acorns fall from it, and how much potential for every one of those acorns to grow, and it's just constant abundance. And I think when you're in that meditative state, you dip into that area that the trees live in. You
Mm,
dip into that area that nature lives in.
mm.
It's abundance all around us.
It's
Much
bearing
of our
fruit.
bread, yeah, they're bearing fruit. And much of our lack of bread is lack of vision. Ah, I don't know if that blessed somebody, but that
That's
blessed me
deep.
when I said it. Your lack of bread is tied to your lack of vision. He that opens his eyes will have plenty of bread. There's all, and so I finished this book. I read this book called Abundance, and it's talking about how, like most of us, we operate in a scarcity attitude, scarcity mode.
Hmm.
We operate in a Babylonian system that says it's only so much, and so you got to fight and scrap and steal for just this much. But then when we go into an ancient practice like meditation, there are just seven ideas that will completely bless, and like either one of those ideas that you caught from the ether will like be enough to sustain you. Seven ideas that you just walked by. And it's like either
Yeah.
one of them will sustain you. And God's like, I got way more than that.
Yeah.
It's just you step into that place of abundance and see it all. I love that, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. It's so good. You know what I'm thinking too, with using this analogy of the fruit and the seeds that are coming. And I know I feel like the scripture touches on this about fruit and trees and things like that, but I feel like it does about people and animals and things too. It says that it will produce after its own kind.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
this tree is going to give you apples, right?
Mm-hmm.
This millionaire is going to give you more millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Boom.
This
Yeah, man.
spiritual
Yeah.
individual is going to produce and disciple
Yes.
more
Yeah,
spiritual
man.
individuals, kind of thing. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like you were saying, looking for a coach or a leader or a friend to somebody to
Yes.
have in your circle, who's doing the things that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
I can show
Yes,
you better
man.
than I can tell you, kind of thing. You know, we hear
Right.
the lip service all the time, but seeing it is
Mm-hmm.
huge.
When we write a book, okay, and I read your book, man, and just let me plug it, bro. For those that have not
Hold on, let me
read
hold it up.
Truth Seekah's book,
I plugged it the other day on my new video. Did you
plug
see
it.
it?
Like, yes, I did. Yes, I did. That was dope. When you talked about the top five, was it top five
Top 10. Yeah,
spiritual
yeah.
books, or top 10? It was the top 10 spiritual books, and you said shameless plug, and I was like, go ahead, man.
I should.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I
But
think I
but
should have did it like I didn't know what it was. Like this one book that I just read by this guy. It's really good.
no, you know what? No, man. I thought it was great, and it was the first one you did, but you did it at number 10 and
Yeah.
went all the way to number one. But that's worth it. That's how you got. I mean, ain't nothing. My old pastor used to tell me this. He says, "Nothing wrong with a dog wagging his own tail."
Yeah.
You know, and so being able just to say, "Hey, I'm glad about what I did." Like what you did, man, within that book. First of all, you took something that the world did not have, and you manifested it in the world, and now it's for posterity. Years from now, that you're gone, the words and the way that you saw it and the way you put it together is here for somebody else to go further
Hmm.
with, the take. So that's powerful and beautiful within itself. Then the second, going like deeper into the book, it's a funny thing that when we write a book, you write a book, you have to hone all of these amazing thoughts and ideas down to certain words. But like the old African idea of a word, that in Africa they would say every word is a seed and a universe. Every word is
Hmm.
both a seed and a universe. If you plant that word, it has the ability to bring fruit, but it also within itself is a whole world within the word.
Hmm.
There's so much within just one word. And so what I love, when I just enjoyed reading your books, it opened up so much questions to me. And it was like, oh man, if the dude that wrote this book said all this, and I got so much from the book, what could I get if I got the opportunity of kicking it with the dude? You
Yeah.
know, I was writing about the road of Emmaus. Okay, the story in the Bible, book of Luke, the 24th chapter of when Jesus, the post-resurrected Jesus, you know, and the post-resurrected disciples, they're walking down the road and they're talking and they're trying to figure all this stuff out, what just happened this whole weekend and all of that. And Jesus just kind of comes next to them and he starts walking with them, but he changed his appearance. They didn't know who he was, right? And we, those that don't know the story, it's one of the coolest, funniest stories in the Bible. He's raised from the dead, and he was like, "What's up with y'all? What's up?" And they look at him like, "You don't know what happened this week? You know, are you new here? You new kid? You know what's up?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean that happened?" And so they're telling him the whole thing. This Jesus, we thought he was our prophet. He thought he was going to be a Messiah, but he died. And so Jesus goes on a 7-mile trip with them, and he talks for the whole time about himself, pulling scriptures out of the New Testament. I mean, out of the Old Testament, out of the prophet, out of the history, out of the scribes and all this. So here's a 7-hour seminar with Jesus, but their eyes were still closed. It wasn't until he sat down and broke bread with them that all of a sudden their eyes got open. And I thought about that for me. I'm like, I probably have been the kid that went for the 7-hour seminar thinking, ooh, got a 7-hour seminar. But what surpassed all his words was a moment at a meal with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just sitting, breaking bread. And I personally think it was like the way that he blessed the bread was they was like, wait a minute, nobody blessed the bread like, and as soon as they said, that's G, he disappeared.
You know, and that's, you know, that's a big thing for me. Like, you know, there's a lot of people, especially in the church realm or in the spiritual realm too. It's like you have to protect the anointing. You can't let them see you like they see an average person.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And that's been something that I've had to like break down and like, you know, be okay with, because for some people you kill the magic. You know, they tell you don't meet the people you look up to. Like, I'll tell you something that's really, if you haven't seen this, Chameleonaire meets Michael Jordan. I don't know if you've seen that video.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. No.
Watch that video. Chameleonaire was awestruck trying to get he's at a party, just bought a $6,000 jersey for Michael Jordan's charity.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get an autograph from him. And he says, he walks by me, he says, I don't take no pictures with no ends. Talking about dudes.
Wow.
He's like, I'll tell you what, if you buy this jersey and you do a $20,000 jersey, then I'll take a picture with you. He's like, I just bought this one. And somebody that was this dude's childhood idol, you know, it would have been better for him to have not met him. You know what I'm saying? So they tell you, you know, because a lot of times you're let down, especially like with the material that I put out, my book, my music, my podcast. Like all you get to see for the most part is the spiritual side of, you know, salutations. Yes. Let's meditate. Let's channel the ETs. You know what I'm saying? So for you to sit down with me and let me tell jokes and make you laugh, you know what I'm saying? And most people don't get that side. So it kills it for a lot of people because they only want the book TruthSeekah. I didn't write a book on jokes. I didn't write a book on how to make people laugh, you know?
Right. We don't recognize the layers that really make up the person. You know, so seeing Michael Jordan in this form of what we would call kind of from the Old Testament, think of the book of Daniel, the feet of clay, you know, this statue that had different levels of the statue and it had the feet of clay. That's now a saying when we say the feet of clay, you see him in his feet of clay. In other words, his human side that's connected to the earth, that's humanity. It's not strong like iron. It's not like copper. It's just clay. But you know, it's the clay, it's the clay, the copper, the iron, up to the diamond, man, that makes the full person. You're right. A lot of people get thrown off because they want to keep folks in one dimension, and I think that's because we all kind of benefit from that dimension, man. I mean, when I first heard your rhymes, man, I didn't hear your rhymes first. I first heard you talking. Then when I was like, okay, this cat, and I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but I love your voice, dude. You got a deep voice. You sound hood. So you this white dude that got this, you talk and you sound hood. You
I
sound like
hood.
you from, yeah, you sound like you say you're from, from Louisiana. You got kind of that Louisiana, that Alabama, that slang, that's country, that's hood. You sound black, okay? And I just like I get down with that. I get because I grew up where I grew up with all types of different people, and I think this generation like identifies that with that more. You're not like one dimensional. But and then when I heard you rhyme, me being a lover of hip hop and a lover of the craft, I was like, okay, I'm feeling this dude. I really am feeling him even more. And I appreciate that side of you. And that side like benefits me in so many areas that I can just camp there. I'd just rather, let me just camp there. But it's like to see another side of you, now it all integrates. There's a side of you that, yeah, you you like horror movies. Eric, you love horror movies. I can't stand horror movies. I have to pray. I gotta now. If we sit up and watch a horror movie with my wife, she is binding and loosing and casting oil on the
I've
television the
been
whole time.
there.
I was like, I can't even watch no horror movie with you, right? But part of whatever triggers you in horror movies helps you think about the supernatural, which helps you think about your foundation, which helps you come together with some type of way of communicating and expressing it, and it all fits together.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all part of a greater package. I think that those that are only interested in one dimension are going to be terribly disappointed on the other side
When they meet
when
Jesus,
they thank you.
when he's
You
capping
said it
jokes.
well. And Jesus got jokes.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Hey, I mean, I, dude, I love you, and I love you. Just, you got to be careful, man. When people, I love it when people get it. Because for so
Yeah,
long people didn't get it. Especially
right,
the realm that
right.
I was in. Religious realm, and owning
Hmm.
my truth and talking about things that were getting me laughed at or uninvited or my name taken off the flyer. People
Yes,
see my
man.
names on flyers, and they threaten to shut down the event because TruthSeekah
Wow.
was going to be there and attend, even in attendance. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to hear a fan or a friend like, man, I love what you do. This is it. And trust me, I get it every day. Um, but it does so much for you. But, I don't want to be, what I'm saying? I don't want to be on a pedestal, even that pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Of like
Yeah.
having to, we got other people going to come in, and some of them are fans and stuff. And I don't want even this stream to be, let's tell TruthSeekah how good he is. And I need it. And you tell me that all the time, man. And I know that I'm needed. And I know God has strategically placed me in a realm where I am, and I really appreciate all the kind words and knowing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
my word is not returning void. You feel me?
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Well, like I was saying, the whole concept of you being an old soul. And when I first heard you and heard you speak and heard you talk about these whole ideas of, these different realms and different ideas of concepts of truth, and then your rhymes and all of that, I thought, once again, coming back to this idea of synchronicity, I was like, yeah, this is my fam.
Yeah.
This is my family. This is my dude. I'm feeling him. And me being a little bit older,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, I went through some of that that's not the same. I heard, I think it's a Dan Carlin, who is one guy that I love to listen to. He has a podcast called
Yeah.
Hardcore History, Dan Carlin. And he said, history does not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. History often rhymes. And I so can relate. I can identify, I can resonate with that sense of being ostracized, being marginalized
Mm-hmm.
from the church which birthed you. You know, you was born
Yeah.
in the church, you was kind of nurtured and raised in the church. But most of the real reformers of institution, they have to be born within that and raised within that and see beyond it.
Yeah.
And then that's the only way the institution changes. A perfect example is like a Bruce Lee. Okay. Bruce Lee like was born in this style of kung fu and fighting and all of that. And he drank the Kool-Aid. He became like a deep, serious disciple of this style. And then as he practiced that style, he saw the deficiencies of that style and said, okay, I can bring this and that. And now he widened the scope. He opened the paradigm up a little bit more. But to open the paradigm is almost like a generation from him would truly appreciate what he did. But those that like he challenged hated him.
Yeah.
they,
Dude.
they saw him as, you blasphemer. How are you
Yeah.
taking this sacred idea? We can't share this with the Westerners. We can't
Mm-hmm.
do that. But he saw something bigger. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what reformers often have to do. And I think that's kind of the part that you hold, man. And so as a result, you know, you get dissed. You get dissed from inside and outside and unknown. It's a weird part. Some
Yeah.
folks get you, most don't. A lot of people appreciate you, and in the words of Jay-Z, maybe y'all appreciate me when I'm gone.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, you got to think 70, 80
No, for
years from
sure.
now,
For sure.
people are going to be looking at your stuff and was like, oh, TruthSeekah said this. And it's like, y'all didn't give me no love. Your parents didn't give me no
Yeah.
love.
They say, give, you know what I'm saying? Give your roses while they're here. Let it be known. You
True,
know what I'm saying? Like,
true.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
we just had a friend that passed away, and he was at one of the roughest parts in his life, and he just passed, and he
Mm,
OD'd, and
wow.
you know, everybody comes out the woodwork, man. They post their pictures with them and all this kind of stuff. It's like, listen, man, this dude was at a spot where he needed y'all the most, man, and nobody
Right.
was there. He had a couple people with him, but like everybody who comes out the woodwork, man, we love you, praying for your family, though. But like this dude needed
Doing
y'all,
good.
bro.
I'm
Y'all
doing
wasn't
good,
there.
brother. I'm sorry. I was just saying hi to a guy.
You
I
good?
often come here at the lake, and I got a couple people that just
Yeah.
see me all the time and say, "What's up?"
Hmm.
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
just celebrating people while they're here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
man.
everybody comes
Yeah.
out the woodwork while they're gone, and we see that on social media and that stuff. But again, challenging the status quo, right? And
Yeah.
you know, with
Yeah.
whatever ideas you're bringing to the table, no matter where you got them from, kind of thing. Like a rising tide raises all the ships. So
It raises all the ships.
as your
Yeah.
levels coming up, this is something we've been talking to regarding basketball. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been shooting basketball, and I love basketball. And we talked about it the other day. The average kid, like 13-year
Mm-hmm.
old or something, like
Yeah.
is I don't know. I did not shoot basketball with anybody growing up, and I played a lot of ball
Mm-hmm.
with anybody who can handle this new breed of 13-year-olds, 16-year
Right.
olds, 17-year
Right.
olds. They're jumping
Right.
higher, they're more accurate with their shot, the step back
Yeah,
game.
man.
And so that comes from watching the NBA.
Yes.
Let's look at and one. I don't know how big you are in basketball, but whenever the
Yes.
and one franchise came
When
out,
and one came in, and yeah, because now they're bringing a little bit more of a street that folks in the hood knew for years, and I'm sure you knew this because you were a fan of basketball. There were probably 1,000 guys just as great as Michael Jordan, you know. But it was a matter of, once again, synchronicity. It was a matter of, one thing that I noticed. Michael Jordan followed several rules and was able to, it was his time and it happened for him. You kind of probably had 10 other people that could have been just as good as him, but they wasn't in place. They wasn't able to follow the certain amount of rules and all of that. So he got put on, so that when and one came on the scene, you seen all these people that were just bending the rules or taking it another way. And when it got absorbed, you're right. Now all of these kids seeing this and they're like, I'm gonna try that. and I'm gonna do this, and
Yeah.
it just it took it to a whole different
Yep.
level.
So it's just different now. So now like the entry level is way higher than it was when we were children. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah, man. Yeah,
which is
yeah,
interesting. Again, like a rising tide raises all the ships. Look, we got some more people here, man, that want to come in and
yeah,
talk, and we're gonna talk about synchronicity, man, because things are getting weird. Like
yeah, bro.
I posted and I just shared it on my Facebook. I was hey, just to throw it out there, has anybody been having increased synchronicities because it's getting weird, and
Mm-mm.
a lot of people, like a lot of people, that's one of my most popular posts. Everybody's commenting
Right.
on it, and they're saying what they're going through. They're seeing numbers and phrases and all of these things that we try to articulate it, what it means to us. What do synchronicities mean? The pastor where I go to church at, like he's starting to see synchronicities, and this is brand new to him.
Mm.
He called it having like Twilight Zone moments. These like these surreal moments where there's a glitch in the matrix.
Yes. Yes.
Something's like we're noticing patterns that shouldn't be there. And it's not
Mm.
just the initiated, it's not just the spiritual people, it's starting to be everybody. Like
Yes.
everybody is starting to see this stuff. So with the heat being turned up with the state of the world,
Yeah.
I haven't looked much into it, but they talk about like 5D and like timelines crossing and another dimension popping through ours. So you hear just weird stuff. I don't know all that. For synchronicity, for me, it's very basic stuff. Like it's for one, it's a nudge from God, a nudge from the
Yeah.
universe saying, "Hey, you're on the right path." Because I've been on,
Hmm.
because that's when you start seeing all of these synchronicities, you seeing things
Right.
stick out to you. And I've been where I knew that I was off the path. I knew that I was, I needed to take some steps to get back on. And then all of the synchronicities stopped. All of the magic
Yeah,
stopped
man.
until I got
Mm.
back on that highway of holiness, if you will. And then they all started back up again. And so now they're just a normal part of most of our lives. And it's very strange stuff. Most of the time, it doesn't make sense. Me and my like the radio has played a big role in this over the years of like we say something and then the TV or the radio says the same thing, or we do something and whatever we're doing, the radio lyric picks it up and we're like, it's a song that we don't listen to. Yesterday, we've been having a problem with house flies in the kitchen. And so we've been trying to stop them and trying to kill the flies and get them out the house and all this kind of stuff. And so it's really bad in the South right now. So we're listening to a song. We're trying to make dinner and we're trying to kill a fly. And a Dave Matthews song is on, and he's talking about killing flies in the kitchen when we're swatting a fly. And we're like, what the? And it caught me and my wife in our tracks. Like, what did it just say? Flies in the kitchen. It was, oh, that's it's very strange. Just a little nudge. Don't mean nothing to anybody else, but it meant something to us because that's what we were dealing with at the time. Yesterday, I go to work out and with a buddy of mine, and I'm working on my form. My form's bad, right? And we're doing heavy weight. I'm trying to get my form, and I keep bending my back. I keep bending my back when I try to deadlift, and I got to keep my back straight instead of arching it. So he's checking me on that. I'm trying my best to work on my form. And he's like, you need to straighten it up. And the song by some random rapper that was playing at the gym, you need to straighten it up. Straighten it up. And I'm bending over to grab the bar. He's like, straighten it up. Yeah, straighten it up. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? These little things that don't mean anything to anybody else, but that's the synchronicity. It means something to you. They're increasing. They're getting weird. And I hate to speak out of line or get too woo woo. I know I'm pretty out there, pretty far out, but it's almost like something's trying to get our attention from the other side. From our perspective, God is getting our attention. The angels are saying, hey, we're here with you. We're going to move things around just to let you know that our presence is here. But it's almost like something forgotten or I don't want to say this is what it is, but almost like a ghost or something, right? Of like we're trying to so if a ghost is trying to, in the movies and stuff, a ghost is trying to get your attention, there's only certain things they can do. They make the temperature of the room cold. Like they can do little things. They can maybe, make the breeze blow. Little things they can do that, and they're using all of their energy to say, hey, I'm still here. I need help crossing over. I still love you. I'm going to send a butterfly or whatever the case is, right? So there's these nudges. And so synchronicity ramping up for so many people. If like, and I know they're just cool little nudges from God, I'm on the right path, but what if it's something more severe? Like, what if something or someone is trying to get humanity's attention from the other side? It's pretty deep to think about. And we're just like, oh yeah, I like I'm on the right path, man. I'm gonna start a career, and God's let me know I'm doing the right thing. But what if it's like, hey, there's an urgency. We're definitely in an urgent time. Things are shifting and changing, but it's almost like something is trying to get our attention. What would you say, man? Just explore. It doesn't mean it's truth, Oh, you can't unmute yourself. So I'm gonna unmute. I'm gonna unmute all of you guys. So we got three people with us here watching on in the Zoom, and anybody who's watching online, if you want to be a part of what we got going on, I open this up for patrons. It's one of the perks that you get if you're a patron or if you're a member on YouTube. You'll be able to join the chat here. But I'll open it up for all of you guys, man. I want to hear your stories, and we started off with Fred just saying I was synchronistic coming into his life, and what you needed for the moment, and God kind of, lining things up for you. Something's going on, man.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
ramping up.
I think Shell is it Shell Observer
Yeah,
has
Shield.
a hand up. Shield
Yeah,
has a
I think
hand
you should
up.
be able to
Hey, can
unmute
you guys
yourself
hear
now,
me?
Shield. My brother in India.
Wait. Oh man. Wait.
We
Hey,
can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear
I know it
me?
says you're muted, but we can hear you.
All right. Super. Great to be here with you guys. Hey, Fred. Uh, yeah, man. I've been listening to you guys, what you've been speaking, and I don't know, Derek. What's up, bro?
What up,
How you
brother?
doing? You've been feeling the squeeze, yeah?
Oh yeah.
This like celestial freaking squeeze where I feel like, I don't know, is that what you're talking about? Something's like trying to get your attention, something above and beyond, this, I don't know, regular realm. But you seem to be pretty much, how often are you there?
I
I
live
just got
there.
off,
No, that's what I'm saying.
you live there. But the thing is, like,
We
can
live
you
there, and that's what the
integrate that at
synchronicities
this
let you
moment?
know.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yes.
So I just want to ask you something before, like, anything else, right? Some super fundamental stuff. You think there's one God?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's good.
One God,
Perfect.
but I
All
would
right.
say many emanations
Deities,
of the
yeah,
one,
yeah.
including us.
Many angels,
Yeah.
many deities, many forms, formless,
Yes.
different
Yeah.
scales,
But
majors,
all going
minors,
back
modes.
to the Supreme.
Okay, thank God. Is that why you get into so much trouble?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh shit! Oh man. Okay, I'm super. First of all, I'm proud of you, bro. You're worried about people complimenting you, so if you like, I can tell you that you suck.
Yeah.
If it helps your process,
Just tell me to
you
hurry up and
know.
finish the album.
Shut up and finish the record, dude. No, man, it's cool. So listen, like, I don't know what to say. I just wanted to share maybe a small story about when I met Jesus in 2012 in Asheville. You want to hear that?
Sure.
Okay, so this is before I had any concept of God. This is before I had a guru who was friends with Jesus. And I just see you. I don't see Fred or anybody else. I'm just gonna speak to all you guys who want. As you know, I was a psychedelic atheist forever, and now I've been discovering that all this stuff that you guys keep talking about. I mean, the spirit realm book really helped me understand a lot of stuff. Actually, I'm really grateful I read that because my people have been going on about stuff for a really long time, and I was like rejecting my people because it just sounded ridiculous. But now I see that it's the same stuff. There's Merkavas, there's like plasma light strips, there's basically extra dimensional entities, there's channeling, there's spirals. It's all here basically, with the Hindus. And yeah, it's not exactly a religion, but what I'm trying to say is like before I understood this, before I even had any concept of a guide or theism, this happened in 2012, right? So anyway, I just want to tell you the story. It's a really beautiful story. So I didn't like I used to go to church and stuff when I was in school, but I was like into Metallica and sci-fi and we didn't have time for like God and deities and stuff, you know. It's just like from one concert to another or from one whatever. So wait, I should put this hand down. It's like shit. I don't know if I yeah, it's the same thing. So basically, what happened was we were on our way to go to a party, right? It was probably around 10 years ago, and this was the first time I basically had direct communication with the being that is Jesus, minus the whatever symbolism and minus the, you know, the whole stuff that happens, which is super interesting. So what happened was there was a few of us, and then one of our friends, he got like, you know, a bottle of sunshine, and then we all took a little bit. I took a little more than a little. And then what happened was it was the middle of the night, and everybody was supposed to go to a party, and then I was supposed to be with a girl, I think, and then something happened. One thing led to another, and me and my friend were on a scooter, and we fell down basically, and I hurt myself. My friend like hurt myself again. And Goa is like the place where I live usually. It's basically it's still it was a Portuguese colony until very recently. So most of the architecture is still very Christian. It's very so we have churches there and temples working in proper. I mean, they're cool with each other. So basically, what I'm saying is that there is a lot of Christian households in Goa where I live. You know, most of the time. So what happened was, here I was, right? I wasn't that high, but I was in a shitload of pain, and this was really long time ago, 2012 it was, you know. And then what happened was, why can I only see myself?
I got
Wait,
you
what?
spotlighted. I got you spotlighted for the camp. Yeah, for the
All right, cool.
for the
All right,
viewers.
yeah, I don't associate well with my form, but it's all right. I'm just gonna, you know, call myself the notorious DMT. Anyway, so basically, what happened was like we got hurt, right? And I was in physical pain from my knee downwards, and there was another old Englishman. I think he broke his leg, you know, on probably 400, 500 mcg of medicine. Basically, what happened was everybody deserted everybody, and the guys who were supposed to go to the party, they douched out. They just like, you know, they left me and they left this guy alone in different places. So one guy broke his leg, and I got hurt, and I couldn't move, and I was like super heartbroken, and all the negative emotions were coming. You know, like I was just like, these guys deserted me, and all of this stuff. Basically, it was just like you know. And this was far before I had any connectivity to any form of, you know, religious deities. I thought 600 micrograms was God basically back then. Anyway, so, and then a kind Portuguese couple, right? I mean, they're Portuguese going. They were kind enough to put me on this sort of sunbed in the middle of the night. And then I was there feeling the pain from my knee, like downwards. It was pretty fucking intense, bro. It was like, I don't exactly recall the details of what happened before, but I tell you what happened after. So what happened was like I was just in this universe of pain, and my mind was like thinking, you know. And then when you're psychedelic and you're thinking, you give yourself a cosmic fucking headache, you know. So basically, I spiraled into like a negativity of into a spiral of negativity. And then when I was lying down there, because I couldn't do anything, you know, and I just looked at this little idol of Christ outside, you know, on the cross, in this Portuguese house, and something happened. It was really small. It was like 6 to 8 inches by this much, you know, like, and it was badly made in the sense it wasn't like a perfect piece of like architecture or whatever. But anyway, I just saw that, and then something happened, like the little red or the little black dot that they painted for, like, you know, Yeshua's eyes and that, we just connected, and I got a transmission, bro. Like I got a transmission in the sense that I connected straight into the heart of the matter, and it was almost like in one split second I could have refused that invitation, or I could have like just and gone back into my world of misery and pain, or I could have just, and I just, for a moment, I was teleported to that cross, basically, you know. And I think the place where I went to in time is the space between the argument and the surrender, you know. I just went into that space for a couple of nanoseconds, like between Father, why have you forsaken me, and then, thy will be done.
Mm.
And I was like, my whole body was filled with energy of, and I tell you, like the light, it was a color that I haven't seen before, and the pain was still there. But I started, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? I feel it in the music,
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like, anyway, it was really far out, man. It was really powerful, and that's the first time I understood the reality and the reality of this being. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you, it was just because, Anyway, I just wanted to say that. I know how much
dude, that's beautiful. And I think that the two things that you mentioned that stick out is talking about Jesus being at the place where he even says, Father, why have you forsaken me? Right? Like, so Fred, like, did the Father forsake Jesus? It's when we feel forsaken that we are able to step into that type of experience, like Sheil encountered. Like, I'm at a place where I'm separate from God. The scripture says God will never leave you nor forsake you. But then here we have Jesus thinking or feeling or being at a place like, wow, maybe he did, kind of thing, right? And, many people say Jesus doubted at that moment, and he doubted his role and stuff like that. But it's an interesting notion. But I know how it ties to us is like when we feel forsaken, it's only a separation in our mind. It's not like God literally forsook you or forsook Christ or whatever the case is. It's an interesting notion
for me, like,
as well.
in adding to what you're saying, it's like the thing that makes the whole Christ on the cross thing very beautiful for me is not the divinity aspect, like the divinity aspect is, okay, that's great, but it's just the humanness transitioning into the divinity that makes it like the stuff of legends, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you see ourselves, I don't know, like I at that point in time I felt that, and then there was like this glow for the rest of the day, and then after a couple of days, I mean, like I still when I think about it, I still get goosebumps, So
awesome.
Is that how you write all your music?
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, dude, that's pretty
for
far
sure.
out.
No, that I'm describing experiences and encounters and reliving them when I hear them, in the music. And for sure, that's what art is, as far as music is, or even that statue, that you encountered and had a deep revelation over.
It's
that
powerful. It
could have been somebody else's.
In Sanskrit.
That could have been somebody else's experience, and when they see that statue, it reminds them of an encounter that they had, or faith, or when a moment they put their faith in that, into Christ. Richie, on synchronicity, man. So what's going on with you? Am I making sense, bro? Like, what's going on?
Yes, tons for sure. I want to take a second and dial back real quick to there was a mention darshan. Is that what Sheil you mentioned it is? Darshan is how it's mentioned. Oh, he got mute back on. Dang, cannot hear you.
Yeah, darshan, the presence of the holy being. Yes, definitely.
Right, darshan, the presence of the holy being, for sure. So with that as idea, I think darshan brings resonance. Like if you do something or you're focused on time with a puja table or sitting in prayer or dropping flows. I personally beatbox. I don't necessarily build as much of the lyrical pattern, but it's a matter of breathing in resonance. And once you kind of move your biological state, like the thing that you mentioned to me, it felt a whole lot like the pituitary gland, which is the master gland that controls the body and says, this is where this gland goes. You get more adrenaline, less norepinephrine, is connected to the pineal gland and other glandular functions that have to do with like play and like a relaxing visionary hypnosis. And I think maybe because things have been so tightly bound and so wound in the past maybe year or so, that when the times get tough, the weird turn pro. So all of a sudden, the people who are doing their own thing have been magnified, and their own thing is in way more resonance. So I think that the synchronicity is again like the seed and the whole universe. It's like that little moment of like something's cool, and then cool. Everything is cool. But if you can't really see the forest for the trees, there's miracles that happen every day that we don't really notice. So is it that our synchronicity sensors are just more accurate now? Or do you think that there's truly more synchronicities happening?
Ooh,
whole can
that's
of
a good
worms.
question.
Can we
That's
say
so good.
both? Can we say both, or, or
Ding,
hope
ding,
hope
ding.
for both?
I think I would like to say I think that it is. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, I think that I like that both and because I think that synchronicity is a language. I think because what is a language? Language is an expression that is given in certain patterns. Okay. And you can have an expression. I mean, like all around us, there are radio signals right now, right?
Yeah.
But we have no way to pull it in or dial it in. But what if all of a sudden somebody got it in? And what if the only expression at that time was Morse code? So what if all of a sudden now you're hearing doo 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 doo? The more you start listening to it and paying attention to it, now you're starting to see the patterns. And then when you start responding in the same pattern, now there's conversation. I think we're at the brink of new levels of conversation in spiritual realms, and we're
Communication.
experiencing it through synchronicity.
Mm.
I've been onslaughted by
Yes.
444. Just want to throw that in.
Yeah.
It's just been 44444 continuously for like a week now.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
like
what's going on.
I want like again, like what if anybody's tapped into it? You know, obviously we know about people who channel, we know people who supposedly, you know, meet with ascended masters, right? Jesus is an ascended master. He's a master teacher. They refer to him as master, and he ascended, right? And so we work with him from Christians work with him from beyond the grave, right? He's there, he's communing with us, the Holy Spirit's living within us and giving glory. Like there's this relationship that happens from the beyond. And the whole notion, again, she'll bringing up Darshan, like being in the presence of the holy man or the divine, like definitely right now, because of everything that's going on, people are becoming more spiritual. They're becoming more religious, right? Even though we see like, I would say for the longest time, the church numbers were decreasing, but there's a revival now. So it's kind of flipped it. Like this adversity actually brought about revival to the church. And so the one thing that whatever is attacking that, it's had the adverse effect that people are actually hungry and striving for truth and for change, you know. And so now because of that, you have a collective that are in Darshan, that we're asking for God, we're asking for guidance, and we're trying to navigate the best we can. So, right. So if divine has always been communicating, but now we're positioning ourselves to hear just through mere circumstance, you know what I'm saying? As a collective, that's totally what's going on. But again, like to pinpoint it even deeper though, like, cause I think that our beliefs limit us, our fears limit us. So what if it's like, you know, what if we have to transcend the names? But how do you transcend the names? Because we always come up with titles anyway. Like for me, it's Jesus. Like that's the modality, and I'm cool with other names for sure. But what if it's like, let's get far out, get crazy. What if it is, you know,
if I can
the
say
ETs? You know what I'm
something?
saying? Or what if it is? Even that is giving them a name. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I don't know how would we approach it? For me, it's going through, you know, God, that channel of light, which the name of Jesus is light, is love. I could say, in the name of love, I come to you. All of you who come in the name of love, I beseech you. You know what I'm saying? So that, as far as a title is concerned, but I kind of feel like it's something bigger and not directed at me or Richie or Fred. Yes, individually, but also collectively, like trying to wake up humanity. And some people are posting here in the chat online saying that, you know, the synchronicities is about humanity going through a spiritual awakening. That's for sure. That's totally what's happening. But what is trying to get our attention, you know? If anything, we'll say God's trying to wake you up for you to be more conscious and, you know, be more introspective, take care of your body, take care of the earth, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know? But I feel like it could be something different. It could be like, hey, there's bad people running the planet and we want to help. but you got to listen to us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Now, who you want to say that's Jesus? Jesus told me that, or Buddha told me that. You know, that's going to be up for your religious tradition to break down. You know.
Hmm. Hmm.
I have a theory. I'll just quickly present it. Am I still on mute, or can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. So first of all, I love your name, Richie Breathe, and I love your beard, Fred. And Derek, I'm not going to compliment him until he finishes White Magic. Anyway, so this is my theory, right? So what's going on since 2020 is that there is an onslaught of just low vibrational crap on the planet. We are being flooded, and even the people who I thought were, spiritual or but they're all falling to these traps because of the sheer intensity of the onslaught. It's like it's coming from every channel. It's coming except the TruthSeekah podcast. Yeah, it's coming from like Facebook. It's coming from the news. It's on freaking iTunes with all the new music releases, and there.
Hmm.
So I feel like there's a few of us. So just speaking Star Wars, there's always been. I mean, Star Wars, I think, is a universal religion. It kind of applies to basically all religions.
Mm-hmm.
So there is always a force which is dark, which is necessary. It's absolutely needed. The polarity, and then there's the light, and then there's those of us. And I think, like Derek's guru is Jesus, and you guys, I don't know. You're probably like devotees of Jesus. So that's a word that you use to reach out to a frequency within yourself. And we have different words for that, even though the being is like amazing. For example, my guru is Hanuman. It's a monkey god in Hindu mythology, but the frequency of love and the universal sort of the care and concern for the planet is the same that you feel, when you reach out to these spirit beings. So I kind of feel like our guru literally means the person who that which converts the darkness into light, right? So in a way, Jesus is like a massive guru, like a Sat guru, the ultimate guru, the truth guru. So I feel like our these beings of light are kind of calling out to us through synchronicities, because there's a few of us who are capable of understanding that they're calling out to us, And I don't know how many these few are. It could be millions of people like, ourselves, just all over the planet. And the rest are just kind of calcified by this constant stream of, I don't know what to say. And it's like, I walk around, I tell you what, man, like The Walking Dead is less bizarre than what's happening right now. I swear to God, So that's my theories. I don't know what you guys think.
I think once again, I think that there definitely is a think about infrared. Infrared is all around us. We just with our natural eyes cannot see it.
Yeah.
So could there be other entities? Could there be other timelines? Could there be other expressions of universe? Uh, I think we honestly have to be at a place of saying there could be.
Yeah.
There could be. But
There definitely is.
what we have to do is operate in that place of of operating in the new level of language. I mean, when a baby, I have a little new niece who's born. She's about a year old. Kyla is her name. And we love making little fun noises with Kyla because that's her thing. She loves the boop, boop, bop, 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 and she's laughing, she's playing with that. And then we'll take those little noises to the next level, put those noises together in like a chain of vocal noises, and now she's understanding the code behind just the vocal noises, that chain of vocal noises actually means a certain thing, and she's putting together the language and she's learning the language so we can go further in our communication. Kyla doesn't have a clue, but she has a whole lifetime ahead of her. What are we as adults doing? We're starting out little stories and playing and making these sounds and making it fun so she can stay in it and engaged in it. But she just doesn't know these little boop, boop, bop, bop, boop, and all of that is going to be for her growing so that when she's an adult, I'm using that analogy in the same sense. What if there are entities? What if there are angels that are allowing us to experience synchronicity, because at the level we are as humanity, as humans, it's all just a little game for us. We're just playing with synchronicity, but now it's really engaging us to pull us in further. Now, go deeper. Spend time in the presence, that presence that you feel. TruthSeekah, I love that point that you bring out about what was it like for Jesus to actually feel the absence of the presence of his Father. What was it
Or
like
what he
for
thought
Jesus
was
to
anyway. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. What he thought was the absence of the presence, it freaked him the hell out. He said, God, why have you forsaken me? Because, we all go through those things. What we think is the absence, what if instead of an absence, it's more of a wave? And we know that wave have their high points and their low points. The wave hasn't stopped. It's just a different part of the wave. Yeah. And so, yeah, I love that. For years, and I'll say this and I'll shut up. For years, I had a certain narrative with my mom, and it wasn't until in my 40s that I had to change that narrative. My mother was an entrepreneur, a hard worker. She was a workaholic, quote unquote, and so I'm a workaholic. I love to work hard, and so she worked all the time. She was a single mother raising her kids, and so I had a narrative up until my 40s that my mother wasn't around me all the time. She didn't want to be around me because she liked to work better than being around me. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s and my kids were teenagers that I had to work so hard. And I looked at them and I knew that they were like, when I'd leave them, they immediately, because of their limited knowledge, thought it was something wrong with them, that I didn't want to be around them. I'd rather be at work.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it started clicking. Oh, there was nothing ever wrong with me. My mama just had to work hard because she was the only one. That was the only way I could eat. So I changed my narrative to where my mother was not always with me, to a deeper understanding. Maybe she was not with me in presence, but she was with me in purpose. So when she had to go out there and work, that was being with and for me. Although I didn't feel her presence, her purpose, her being there working, that was for my good. And so I realized it. I remember calling my mama in my 40s and saying, Mama, I never knew that when you was working those 14, 18 hours, I thought that you just was rather be away from me. You was doing your own thing. I didn't realize that was for me. Thank you for being for me when you wasn't necessarily, quote unquote, with me. And in the same sense, what if on that cross, it's like, yeah, what you're feeling right now is what you interpret as the absence of my presence, but I am more for you right here. And if you can just endure it, maybe this is for somebody out there just to say, endure what you're sensing as the absence of God's presence and these type of synchronicities of low energy and all of that, because God is more for you than you even know.
That's good. Yep. Never leave you, never forsake you.
Never leave you. Never. My mama never left me, won't forsake me. But I had a story. My twins, you left me. You all could not. No, I wasn't apart from you. I was working on your behalf.
Man, all of us have that story though, right? We're looking at our lives and our family, and trust me, I've got those stories too where, my dad wasn't present in the home, and in our head he was a superhero. He was a great dad that existed somewhere in the universe, that if we can go live with him, if we can meet him, if dad would come home, everything would be okay. But like as a kid, where's our dad? We want to mom tell us to write him letters and stuff. But then eventually, like as I became a man, I'm like, hold on, like I know some things about him. He's a drunk, and obviously he's trying to hide. He abandoned his kids. He's trying to suppress stuff. But like, I had to let go of that fantasy that he was God may have saved me and my daughter. I mean, me and my sister from like abuse and getting beat and all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this idea of like, it would have been better or easier if he was here or whatever. Like, I may have been saved from a monster. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so,
That's
yeah,
right.
these different narratives that are truth to us, and same thing with religion. You know, our
Real talk.
narrative on how we interpret things, and we have to say it just right, or if we don't, then it challenges someone else's narrative. You know, the political system, you know, that narrative. All of us,
Yeah.
even though I'm sure there's a lot of places we agree of what we think's going on, maybe a sinister Illuminati plan, maybe Trump comes here to fix and save everybody. Like, that's a huge narrative that Trump is on your side and he's working for God. Like, I don't believe that, but that's a huge narrative that's out there. I think it's a false
It's out there.
narrative.
Yeah.
I think
A lot of
I think
folks
it
that,
was
yeah,
a
it's,
Right.
projection.
So taking that and rolling with the ball with that kind of projection and that kind of narrative, regardless of the actual evidence of the situation, people's beliefs are deciding what reality they enter. So maybe we've
Wow.
had a specific threshold that says that there are people who believe synchronicities are possible. So now we're getting closer to, like, we don't just have a hall pass to hang out with the Elohim. We're beginning to become like it. There are certain forms of consciousness that we're like leveling up, and now our mini map is larger and we can see through time differently, and we get sort of premonitions and clairaudient experiences and clairvoyance because we're not subscribing strictly to saying that everything must be this way and then kind of clinging and clutching to that commandment rather than surrendering to sort of a natural elemental flow.
Well, it's almost like you saying that is the power happens when you let go of the narrative. I would say that we try to examine our our minds and our hearts to really release all attachment of the narrative and of the outcome. And maybe that those who are doing that
Right.
are like stepping into a place where, wow, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I thought it was this way, and now that I've released any desire to a determined outcome, I'm able to pick up on different, you know, I would say, you know what I'm saying, the true narrative, which is more of a deeper spiritual
That's
oneness.
an embrace, though. That's not a release. That's an embrace. You have to bring that true narrative close and like sit near it and merge with it.
But even that's a narrative too, though, right?
And then you release that. And then you embrace the release. And the awareness is something that you love the canvas, so you never judge the painting. Because every canvas is something that you can harmonize with simply for the fact that it exists.
That's every moment we enter meditation, at least goes on in my head, in my spirit, you know. 0 point, the matrix where things are created.
Hey, definitely.
I'm sorry, I muted. It was a background noise that I didn't want to get in here, man. This is so good. It reminds me, I'm okay. I love this is kind of an off thing, but there was a Seinfeld episode, okay, where Kramer he did this strange movement with his hands in front of some guys, and he didn't know that it was a gang sign that he was doing, and all of a sudden he got brought into this circle of folks where he got things going for him. He got front lines and all of this simply because, and he didn't know, he was just being Kramer. What if in those that are gamers, what if we're tapping into a cheat code, up, up, down, down, side, side, up, that we didn't even realize? That it's like, oh, and so the more that we do it, and if anything, I think that, you know, most leaders would say, and I think we all resonate with, is that as you practice it in love, practice it in peace. Like, recognize your own distortions and realize when you're trying to practice it for manipulation's sake, and pull away from that and come to a better place of doing it in love. Now you're up, up, down, down, side, side, boom. Meditation, worship, elevation, boom, you ascending, you moving, and now you're shifting the perspective because it's a cheat code. You know, I never get past that whole, I remember when gaming first, like where they had the different shifts of the views. So you can view from the person's eyes, and now you're going through, you know, first, but then you can shift up into You see it into a different 1/3, or you shift into you see the whole thing and you see somebody way over here or over there. What if synchronicities are like the Morse code level of telling us you're tapping into cheat codes? You're doing this straight. You don't even know what you're doing, but you're opening yourself to higher levels. And if that's the case, then we must follow Jesus' teaching. We must follow what John said. It's just do it in love. Love will lead you, especially even when you're distorted and you're going in the wrong way. Love will lead you back to the right path.
100%.
Yes, yes.
100%. And the cheat code, it's almost like the cheat codes. So one of the first cheat things was a thing called Game Genie.
Game Shark, Game Genie. Yeah.
Game Shark came later, but Game Genie. And so you would put it in. It's a cartridge that lets you put another cartridge inside of it, but it will let you hack into like the hardware. And and there was codes that you can do that I don't think were actually programmed, because like up, down, left, right, A, B, start, like those are codes that have to be programmed. Like if you learn these codes versus like you can go in there and a lot of times do anything with ones and zeros. You can change the main character out to be an enemy. You can have infinite lives. You can jump higher. You can fly. Anything that's able to be tapped into the game, you can do. So more than a cheat code, more than actually
these are developers' tools.
Developers' tools, the DOS language.
Yeah, the DOS and the BIOS to actually get in there and move things around.
Right. That's architectural of the system, because again, in a video game, like if forward makes you sprint forward, that's encoded in the game. But if you go into the game system and said, if you press and hold forward, that makes you jump, you actually made like a surface level layer change of the development. So Game Shark and Game Genie allowed you to act as a developer, and you would re-engineer the game. So it would send separate commands that aren't there. It's sort of like if you go to pray, versus if you stop and you chat with people who you're particularly resonant with, and you all agree that you're going to go pray, and then you will go off and pray separately together. You've kind of modified your own architecture and changed the developer's code so that you're ready to have it be something that's more personalized, like infinite health potions kind of thing.
Yeah. So Truth, Richie, Das, do you think that's like to a degree what's happening right now with us? On a greater scale, so it's not an individual thing, but it's a wave. It's not a particle. It's like it's happening. We're running into people that it's happening with. Do you think that's going on?
Yes, in a way. It's more like there's a tier, like there's a raising level. Kind of like if everybody plays wall ball in school, and then some people really get good at it, the good people are only going to want to play with the people who are that good to get better. They're not going to really want to play with people.
That was the basketball analogy.
Facts
Everybody
for sure.
had to step up.
You got to challenge yourself, and that raising tide, I think that we no longer as individuals strictly identify with our societal ego. It's not that you are your name and you are only the reflection of the people you interact with. Because 50, 100 years ago, you would only see specific amount of people who would only give you certain input about who you are. So your sort of canvas of identifying the painting of who you see yourself as is informed by your work friends, your home friends, your bar friends, your spiritual friends, whatever, all of those synthesized together. But now we've reached a different echelon where there's near infinite amounts of information, and we've kind of crossed over into this threshold of reflection, because now it's not like we're independently looking up YouTube tutorials. We're actually able to interact through the same platform to have resonant discussions. And if people don't want to talk about it or troll through, they get cleansed out. And since enough of that pairing and trimming is happening, to me, this is the fruits. This is the budding fruit that's sort of leading the way into us accepting what could be seen, using the colloquial term, a digital darshan, or using like a more sacred term, simple in English, that would be a spiritual technology integration. Does this answer?
Love it, Richie. You deep with it, baby. I love it.
Gratitude. Appreciate you.
So we got a comment here from Chris Garner, good friend. He says, "It is what you make it." So like you just saying that allowed you to tap into the BIOS and change the code, and that's what you made it. You made it that because you believed it, then you spoke it and you acted upon it. Like there's one thing about just knowing something, and there's another thing of stepping out and actually doing it and bringing something into fruition. So again, with prayer, it is what you make it. prayer is boring. I had to pray, wait for my parents to pray. Y'all pray too long at church, right? Prayer is this, prayer is that. Like, so when you go into prayer, you're going to get a duty. I have to do a duty. It's what we're supposed to do. You know, I got to pray for my enemies, pray for those who despitefully use me. I have to, you know, offer love to. But for someone else who their prayer is a communion, and things happen when we pray. We look at Jesus, like, you know, when Jesus was praying, what was he doing? You know, and so I don't know what he's doing until I actually read it in the scripture and I got some proof of it. Oh, wow. Okay. So he was praying. He would go into a mountain or a cave, or he would go on the top of a mountain. Okay. That's interesting. People were meeting with him. Spirits were coming to him. His ancestors and his teachers were teaching him from beyond the grave. Like, that was happening when he prayed. So now prayer isn't this thing of begging God for what we want and all these repetitions. No, prayer is like this engagement of like, I can't wait to pray. I can't wait to experience whatever God or they have for me. My ancestors have for me. If you're not open to that, if that is not in your, because it's not what you say it is, it's not what you make it. But once you see it, and that's what testimonies are for, right? You go out, yes, Jesus heals a man, and the man runs out. Everybody knows the dude had a hand like this since he was born. Jesus touches him, his hand comes alive, and now he's able to go out there and shoot basketball with everybody. You know, so we're like, hey, who touched your hand, dude? What happened? That guy. So now the word is spreading, the expectations rising that we need to go see the guy. We need to go talk to him. And so it's showing us when you step into your purpose and your calling and embrace it, you're showing everybody what can be done. And Fred, we go back to the beginning. I'm showing you of some things that can be done. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And so, and as we all rise, as a rising tide, and we're open. Not if we get into hiding and secretive and I can't tell you how I did it and all that kind of, you know, stuff that goes on, crab in a bucket mentality, you'll never progress. But once we're open and honest and we bring our piece to the table, then we're able to see some stuff. It don't mean that you're right. It goes back to Chris Garner saying, it is what you made it. And I found that is truth. What you make it is truth. Everybody is right. In their own mind. All narratives exist, even if it's in your own mind. But if enough people can believe that narrative, it becomes the global brain. It becomes the mass narrative of what's going on, who's controlling it, Trump's role in all of this. Like, it becomes an agreed upon narrative. And so we have the ability to show people a new narrative as we're able to tap into the source.
Like, to use that, like to utilize that tapping into a narrative and connecting to the source. I'm a big fan of Robert Anton Wilson. He was one of the contemporaries of Timothy Leary. He wrote a bunch of articles and a couple books, including one called Prometheus Rising, which talks about the chakra systems as hard drives. And so one of the aspects that I think is really cool about Robert Anton Wilson, besides the BS, everybody has their own BS, their belief systems. And your BS is what you intake. Like, you build yourself out of what you consume. So it's a constant awareness of what your diet is energetically, vibrationally, physically, and all these things. But the Illuminati, to me, the Illuminati are my best friends. We are the most powerful ones, because where we spend our money, those businesses stay in business. Who we talk about, whose music we spread, those are the music that gets more listeners. When we DJ, those tracks we play, those are the things that become bangers. Because we are culture creators and architects. So it localizes the power and it brings sort of the energy back into the tabernacle. We can do it from the sanctuary here. The earth is where the church is, rather than thinking that there's like a far away force that we're fighting to oppress against. And as much as I understand like releasing attachment, I'm finding that for me personally, it's growing closer to compassion. And it's not like pushing things away, but it's finding what to crowd in positively and build more positive addictions that crowd out the negative ones.
Amazing.
So good. So good.
There's a comment here I just want to read. This is from JV on YouTube, and he says, I literally visualized TruthSeekah and Fred Lynch, who did an interview not so long ago, together doing another show yesterday. And here you are. Synchronicity is increasingly evident now. So for them, they're like, you know, that was a really good talk. I'd love to see them do another one. And you wake up the next morning and here we are live, you know.
That's awesome, man. Can you visualize all my bills paid?
No. Yeah, no, you can for sure.
Yes,
Again,
you can.
so I mean, there's some truths, right, of like in the scripture that like we're powerful creative beings by ourselves, right? But when we come together, where two or more are gathered, there I am
There
in the
you go.
midst. You got more than
There
one.
you
You got more than two. If one can set 1,000 aflight, two can set 10,000, and then God is in the business of multiplication. And there's your narrative, right? 'Cause we got
Yeah.
enough people coming together, hopefully for the good of mankind, and we can shift things, we can birth things, we can, the angels go forth and do it. I don't do it, but I release it. I believe it. And I expect it. And as much thought that I put out on there, like something's moving it. If God, I don't think it's God saying, yes, son. Like maybe that's a thing in my head. He says it, but the angels are dispatched to start moving stuff around for synchronicity, whispering in the DJ's ear to play this song at 3:45. So TruthSeekah's cleaning the kitchen and with his wife killing flies, and boom, they hear it. And just so he knows, it's a nudge that, hey, we got you. Everything's okay. That's on the base surface. Like I know that's my understanding, but even that is a narrative. What if the
Yes.
narrative again with the synchronicity is deeper? Like, listen, it's not just so you have a good day and you feel good. What if it's like we need somebody to answer the call? We need somebody to learn the language, like you said.
Yeah.
Nobody's learned the language. You get pieces of it, you get inspired by the wind, but nobody's really learned the language who's able to tap in.
Mm. When talking about playing my little daughter niece, her name is Kyla, right? There's a game that she loves right now. It's patty cake. Okay, so we do the whole patty cake bakers, man. Roll them, put them in the pan. Okay. Now, of course, I remixed it. So the roll them is I do hammer, roll them, put them in the pan, roll them. Okay, she cracks up at the whole thing. She loves it, especially when we get to the hammer part. Roll them. When we get to the roll them, put them in the pan. Okay, she loves all of that. Now, why am I teaching her that? Is it for a game? When they first learned that little nursery rhyme, it was for girls to learn how to make food. Pat the cake. I am baking. I am rolling it, and now I'm putting it in a pan. I didn't learn that just to sing that over and over again. It's actually, it's the song of a narrative, and the narrative is for purpose. And it's like you put it all together and it's like, oh, this whole time I've been singing this fun song. Or let's bring it into this. This whole time I've been chanting. This whole time I've been reading this scripture. This whole time I've been praying this written prayer. It's to go deeper. It's for more. Just don't look at the surface of it, but what is the depths of it? What is it ultimately for? It's for sustenance. Why am I learning how to bake? So I can live. So see the fun part of it, put the whole thing into a song. And I wonder if much of what we kind of practice and see in religion and in spiritual practice is all in narrative, all in story, all in a repeatable, fun method that if you take it in for what it's worth, you don't even know that you're doing, like you said. And you guys blew my mind with the whole, I thought it was just up, down, cross. You're like, no, that's just that's a higher level. There's a deeper level that you can go into, the very DOS and the creation. Man, I got to think about that. That's why I love hanging with y'all, talking with y'all, man. Y'all took me to a whole nother place.
That's what it is, man. A rising tide raises all the ships, and what's possible,
Yeah. So I mean, so I guess
now
my
you
bottom
learn.
part
So
of
now, so now you
learn.
don't have to. So in the realm of having that code, I would say you have to have a manual, right? It has to be programmed in it for the game, and you have to learn it, and there's there were magazines that came out that you had to get that had all the codes in the back of them, and we'd go to you'd buy them
And
so you could bring it home and have all the codes. But but again, hacking into the actual hardware and creating your own code, even then. So here's the thing. So even with that, there was a manual. So Game Genie came out with a thick book for every game. Mario, we're going to let you get infinite lives. We're going to let you jump higher. We're going to let you play as Luigi. Like, we got all of these things that you can do, but the way you did it was ones and zeros. And you can, by the luck of the draw, just make it up. Now, your person may come out with a messed up face. His head may be on his foot of you just changing the ones and zeros. So you get to get in there and experiment a little bit. Right. So now there was a tutorial, there was a book on it. Right. And so we've got those books. We've got those, Spirit Realm is a book. This podcast is a book, is a manual, is a tutorial, but also getting in there and experimenting with the ones and zeros. If you change this one for a 7, that was the combination that you've been playing with for 10 years to figure it out. Same way that you can hack in, and we're still learning. Fred, my mind when it comes to the scriptures, I'm thinking everything's been taught and studied and all that kind of stuff, right? But I'm still learning stuff in the Bible that I've never heard broken down or preached, and it's because there was a narrative, even with the Bible, of its limits and what it really represented, and like, what I'm saying, what it meant. So that's there too, versus I experienced that. So now when I read this, I may be the only one that understands it. Not to get a Messiah complex, but like, hold on, I'm really partial to this scripture because of my experiences, or I'm triggered by this because of my experiences. So in that regard, just with the scriptures and the interpretation and breaking it down, it's limitless. It's
limitless. There was I forgot the theologian that coined the phrase and the idea that like the scripture is as deep that an elephant can swim in it, but is as simple and shallow that a baby can wade within it. And it's both realms. I think it was the old Jewish ways of looking at the text, that they said it's like a diamond, and every way that it turns, depending on where you stand or sit, and the light shining through it, a different sphere, a different color, a different faucet of light would shine. And their whole idea was, don't say this light is better than that light, or this faucet is better than that faucet. All of them are to be appreciated to get the whole of the whole full spectrum. And so just you don't stop. Continue the amazement, enjoy it, love it for what it is, take it within, so that you can figure out how to express it out there in the real world, and that is absorbing and reflecting light.
I mean, that's the beauty of the diamond. I say that in one of my songs, Arrive in the Rise. We stand on, it's my new one. We stand on the back of diamonds. We stand on the back of giants, beauty within the diamond. And so and there's more to it. I don't explain it in the song, but the beauty within the diamond is when the light hits it, we're all seeing the light from a different perspective, the spectrum of that light from a different perspective. And that's the beauty within it. I know my friend Daniel Cook, Jedediah Cook, he keeps his diamond with him, and when he does his shows, he always uses it as an analogy for the different facets of light that comes from the one that we all are a part of, and that's the beauty within it, and to learn to appreciate that too.
And it's ridiculous for us to sit up and argue over which is the best light. Man, and my light is better than your light. Look, it's light. And let that light guide our way, because light is for you to guide your way so you can navigate in a better way. How many of us love walking into walls and love walking into trees? Maybe you love that for now because that's all that you've had. And I remember I was at a place where that's all I had. I was into arguing over who had the best light and arguing over who's not light and all of that. And then it got beyond that, and it came to just let's marvel at the beauty of this light, and I'll take it in and allow it to enhance my light. I'm not gonna say, oh yes, not light and yours is terrible. Okay, okay. I don't have time. There are greater things to do with my time.
That's good. That's good. Light. The light is huge, and we all have a piece of it, a part of it, sacred, special, different, different heat, different temperature, um, different radiance. Been
And
cultivating it.
I'm looking forward to this light, this heat that's gonna come out on your new album, partner.
Man, dude, I guess it was yesterday. May have been today. I don't know. But I'm singing Frequency, like the chorus of Frequency, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
need it to come out. I'm waiting to put anything out publicly until like everything gets registered the right way and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
dude, I'm sitting on 20 songs, man, and
Woo.
I'm like, I want the
As,
world.
as an
I say this
artist, let
though.
me ask you, what is that like to be sitting on those songs? You got that good, and you just want the whole world to get it. What? How do you parcel it out? Don't you just want to just blah, just give it all out there? But how do you do that as an artist? That's hard for me.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So each album has been special because I felt every time I released it spiritually, there was a connection. I felt the world needed it. And I
Wow.
can't lie to you, like the process for this album has been just another spiritual song. It's just another way to rhyme kundalini and chakras and mantra. You know what I'm saying? Like I've learned how to do it. I'm good at it. I'm getting repetitive. My flows are getting, so there hasn't been that anticipation for me. And, you know, writer's block, I've been open, honest about all of that, right? So, but now I've been sitting on some of that stuff over a year, man. And some of the best stuff was even created first, you know. I'm just trying to squeeze out a couple collabs now. But now I'm feeling it. Yesterday I felt it, you know, that that melody of that song, Frequency,
Frequency, yeah.
like we need the world singing it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
it's
man.
time for it. So I'm feeling a release in a inching and an inkling to be done with it. Just not to be done and move on, but a done to like it's ready. You know,
To be birthed.
I've done the patty cake. I've
Yeah.
I've you know, beat it in my hands, rolled it together, threw it in the pan, and now it's been cooking and it's ready to come out. So that's something that I
That's
look
it.
forward to versus like, yeah, I got another album because y'all want an album. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And there could have been some of that at the beginning, but I have to like know that I got some magic. You know what I'm saying? Know that I got something that even if some of it is repetitive, there's some beautiful gems in it. You know what I'm saying? And getting over my writer's block or my own critiques, you know, that hinders me from
Sure.
releasing and creating. That I'll say, yeah, this sounds like my other song, so I'm not going to do it, kind of stuff. But there's a lot of good stuff on it, and it's ready. So
I'm ready for it, man. I know it's going to be beautiful. And once again, it's going to be new to all of us.
yeah, exactly.
So
And
it's
so
like
I said Frequency for everybody because Fred's featured on that song, and literally it was just in my head. I'm singing the chorus.
synchronicity.
Yeah, for real.
Synchronicity, man. I've come to the place of looking at songs like this. Is that what if you are able to look beyond the song? Like, name some of your favorite. One of my favorite artists is Stevie Wonder. Okay, I was just listening to Stevie Wonder's "Love's in Need of Love" this morning. It was one of my songs that once I came out of prayer and meditation, that was my first sacred song I wanted to listen to. It's a beautiful song. Now, I listen to it now in 2021. I remember my mother was in her young 20s when the album came out. And I remember when I got into the album when I was in my young 20s, and my mom telling me, yeah, we were just about teenagers when that album came out, and it was so dope. We used to smoke weed and listen to it, the whole thing. Now, when Stevie pulled that song out of the ether, that song had within the makeup of the song the moment in 2021 that I would hear it and need to hear it in a sacred moment. It had the moment in the 60s or 70s when my mom first heard it. It had the moment in the 90s when I got into it. It had the moment, like, and it'll have all of, in that song, all of the moments that everybody will listen to it and get something from it. In the same way, the lyrics that you were writing, bro, like, it's a piece of a puzzle for somebody years from now that is just going to fit right when they hear it. And they're going to be singing in the back of their mind and singing frequency of, and not knowing that they hitting cheat codes. They hitting cheat codes just by singing the chorus.
They're going to school.
I love it, dude. Love it.
Yeah, they're going to school. I mean, that's what you're going to school anyway, no matter what you're, filling yourself with. So hopefully something positive, something beautiful that's going to uplift versus tear down and those kind of things.
That's what's up.
I'm trying to finish, I think, one more song, and I honestly thought it would be fun. I was thinking about going live to do it and getting people to help me write it, like getting ideas from people. Like the last song on the album is I've kind of got the beginning of it, which is it's with Illuminati Congo, so he's on the hook, and it's called I Shaman. And so I've got just the beginning of it. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun if like people can like throw words out there or throw references while I'm in real time, like building online with them. Like I thought about, especially because it's the last song too. I've always wanted to do that. I
love it, man. Derek, I love it. Do what hip hop hasn't done before. I love that, man. That's crazy. Take hip hop beyond where it's at. I always like to say that, in hip hop, we've gone as far, and I hope this is true, as far to the bottom as we can go. Yeah. Every decade we find a further level of debauchery that we could just go a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But what if we change the direction and say,
you talking about like giving the devil a lap dance?
Just a little. Let me see. What can I do?
Yeah.
Just to go a little bit lower. And it's like,
I got a lot to say.
But we can go higher, man. We can go broader. Like when Kendrick Lamar got the Pulitzer Prize, I was like, yes, we're going broader. We're getting deeper. But now, from cats like Illuminati, yourself, all of these cats that's just like really saying, all of the pioneers that did Christian hip hop, they were like, we were stretching the paradigm of what hip hop is and saying, no, it's actually more than what you think it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember those days. And then can you believe that a lot of that still goes on, the persecution of Christian hip hop? Like in church, it's not of God, that's of the devil. Y'all trying to be like the world to win the world. You hear all these little cliches that's like totally unbiblical.
How Can I Stand Here? It's one of the greatest songs ever written. So I was gonna hold myself. I'm like, am I muted? No,
we got you, man.
Can you guys hear me? Okay,
yeah,
so
we hear you.
I need to hold myself from like going on a TruthSeekah like appreciation rant because I'm like I'm a junkie. There's like
you're a fan. You're a junkie.
There's devotees. Yeah, and I've been hooked on this guy for like a really long time. So there's two TruthSeekahs in my reality. There's the podcast TruthSeekah, and there's like a spiral hip hop TruthSeekah with like a solar system, basically with the words being like planets and with their moons and shit, just kind of like implanted like meaning and stuff. So I didn't know this was gonna be a hip hop talk. And I just want to say, like, you gotta just. I'm just gonna praise Jesus instead of TruthSeekah because he said he didn't want to be praised or something like that in the beginning. So anyway, for me, I completely lost hope in hip hop, man, because like I just thought whatever is capitalistic, I call it capitalistic, competitive, psychopathic neurosis in mainstream American hip hop, and that's what's being marketed, and that's what they want the children to grow up on, And so when I stumbled upon Derek, and then there was MCOV in the beginning, and then I moved on to Loke, and then I know the whole family of guys who are doing this like hip hop. And the thing is, they come like most of these, even the TruthSeekah and Loke Saint are like my two favorite rappers, I think. And these guys coming from like proper gospel records, So I remember fight music, and I remember, basically that they may know him. And there's one thing that I have to say. I think that like you could really do a 2021 like just a representation of How Can I Stand Here acoustic, because it's more, for me, it's like a devotion song. I don't even have to know Jesus to feel God in that song. And now I should hold myself back from talking more about like acoustic music. But anyway, so I just wanted to say one more thing about synchronicity. So today, right? So I've been experiencing mad like parallel timelines, kind of synchronicities with my Ishta Devata, which is also known as the your deity of focus, or which is Hanuman. And so when I went to this pilgrimage spot, like I reviewed TruthSeekahs colors and synchronicity track. Basically, it was about the third chakra, right? And I mean that's how it goes up. And then I was like plastering the internet with this track today. And then as soon as I plastered it, like the fifth or the sixth time in all these different communities, this post just comes up saying synchronicity, things are getting weird. I usually don't get on the TruthSeekah podcast because I'm a blabbermouth and I either just talk about Tool or I talk too much, So, but then this was something that I had to get into. So literally, like I posted the synchronicity track from the Colors album more than 5 times, and this thing just came up, and that's weird. All right, that's like it's not like seeing 333 on a number plate. It's weird. Anyway, I can shut up now. Anyway,
I'm trying to think about that because I had some lyrics from The Voice, my buddy The Voice, who's on that song.
Oh, I love that track. Yeah.
They were playing in my head. I don't remember the lyrics right off, but I wonder if it was from that track. Wouldn't that be weird if everything revolving around just the theme of synchronicity? I remember thinking of his lyrics that were playing in my head, but I don't know what song it was because we've done so many together. But that'd be interesting to
see. That's probably the only song that starts with the Jungian sample in the whole of the internet and talks about synchronicity. And I'm just like, okay, so this is like new age from the future.
Gotta explain it, man. Make it practical. Make people know that it's a thing. In church, and this has been around even in the church realm for us, but we called it confirmation.
Yeah.
God is confirming some things because I saw this, and it was just a confirmation from God. And it's still that, right? So synchronicities are confirmations, if you will. But now we're able to explore them, and they're getting deeper and getting more bizarre, as time moves on, or as we become more conscious of it, being something that happens.
I think of the book of, I think it's the book of Esther, that the scholars will tell you what's interesting about the book of Esther is that the name God is never actually in the entire book, but it's like it's weaved in. In fact, they said it's written kind of in a tongue in cheek, that all of these synchronized moments happen, and they never say Yahweh, and they never say God, because the whole point is God is orchestrating the whole thing. Can't you see it? And that's what's happening in this world. It's a beautiful tapestry, man. It's a beautiful dance. Can't you see it? It's like lyrics. I wonder sometimes lyrics that come to me, and it's like it came to me because it had to come through me, because it had to be in this world for somebody down the line to get it. Can't you see it?
Can't you see?
Yeah, man, I'd love it if you did it.
So wait a second. So
go on, get it, True. Get it,
so
True.
Fred's a rapper. Are you a rapper, bro? Fred's a rapper.
Yeah, he just put out a
project. I know most
project.
of you guys by your other names.
He actually uses his name, Fred Lynch.
Oh, you use?
I use my name.
Okay,
yeah, I used to try to. Yeah, I used to try to find a cool name. I went through all of that.
Your mama came out.
I ain't come out with nothing.
No, that's cool. Because I'm
old, man. I'm old. I've been rapping for years.
That's good, bro. So I'm really looking forward to White Magic. It's like I don't know if I told you this, but
it's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I still stick by my notion that TruthSeekah is the greatest rapper ever, even though I can't remember the lyrics to Synchronicity now. But I suppose he's got a lot on his mind, But it's just
man.
Yeah, that's just a paradigm of like the kind of worms that open up when you put out music like that, it's just, I mean, I'm just like, all of us here, it's like when you put out like Fred and Richie, and just when you put out music, which
Richie's featured on a song too.
Oh, yeah, you're a rapper as well. Am I the only person?
No, he's not rapping. Go ahead.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah?
Richie, you're doing beatbox, man. Richie, I would love to hear some of your ideas. I love what you just said. It resonated so much with me when you talked about beatboxing and how those hit certain energy levels in your body and sets you into a place of resonance, which is trance state. It sets you in a state of trance and into a transition state, trance state. So you can transition simply by beatboxing. I think that's kind of reminds me of the whirling dervish and some of the, you know, in the black church, we got this one right here. If you ever see somebody doing this mug right here where they going back and forth, they're in the zone. You better leave them alone.
That's nice.
And it's all of that. So yeah, I love you know, talking about that beatboxing and what that triggers and sets off in you.
So all you guys are going to be on White Magic? Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's
so Fred just put out a project called The Sacred Hum, and it's a mixture of meditations and spiritual hip hop. So make sure you check that out too, Shield.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, help us get the word out on that.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
Paid promoter. He's a paid promoter.
Oh my God, man! No, don't get me started on that. Somebody asked me if I was trying to expose TruthSeekah. I'm like, who was that? That was so weird. I mean, we were having a conversation about some stuff, and I'm like, expose what? That he writes lyrics in Fibonacci? I don't understand. Like, what do you want from me? They're like, go and expose him. I'm like, listen, I do album reviews for my homies. I don't know what you guys are looking for. You know, like. I don't know. It's funny.
You know what? Real talk. I think a lot of people are afraid of steps that you stepped out, Derek, TruthSeekahs, because they are on the precipice of the same critical, massive place of change that you are. Or that you've already been. So in other words, they're kicking against the prick. Remember the story of Saul that when he converted to Paul. Why was he persecuting them Christians so much? Because he was just like on the precipice of changing himself. And so he's fighting all against it, all that he can, until he ran into Jesus. And Jesus was like, why are you fighting against me? Why are you fighting against change? Why are you fighting against the inevitability?
Yeah,
there are things in my life that I know.
Why are you persecuting me?
Paul, why are you persecuting me? Why? There are things in my life that I know that I just don't believe anymore. When I first became a believer, I believed in it. But now, as I lived in 45 years of walking with Christ, I don't believe that no more. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I needed it at the time. The weird thing
is, though, is people still think you do, though.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing, right? Like you met 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah, Fred is real combative. He's real big on this replacement theology, man. It's something you gave up 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing stuff out there. But that's how it is. And you meet them, and these people like still ready to combat the old you. Yeah. They're like, hey, man,
and you're like, I'm already off of that.
I've been studying on that theology, man, and I'm ready to talk to you about it. It's like, dude, that was a moment in time. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm done.
Yeah. I'm off of that.
Fight music. Yeah, that was great. I play my Dragon Ball Z games to that stuff. I play my Dragon Ball Z to that stuff, you know, on my computer and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'm thinking Assassin's Creed Valhalla to White Magic, you know.
So here's the one I'm gonna need some help writing.
Medicine man, medicine woman, earthed with the land, grounded and barefooted, shaman over shaman, sovereign over shaded, communication with the nameless, naked, supported by all nature. Medicine man, medicine woman, earthed with the land, grounded grounded and barefooted. Shaman over shaman. Sovereign over shaded. Communication with the nameless. Naked, supported by all nature.
That's Congo.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
I don't have the song written yet. The vibe is I Shaman. That's the name that came to me. I Shaman is going to be the name of it. Illuminati Congo. Illuminati's coming down in November. So we're gonna get here a little bit earlier to shoot some footage, and I've already got the idea of the video in mind. Very very shamanistic, mud, water. I got another local rapper here that I'm thinking about getting on the song as well, so we can actually shoot the footage. And I know it would be hard for me to rap it because there's a latency issue, but
Yeah.
I can try, and it's gonna sound bad because it's not gonna be on time. But you guys can kind of get the picture, and I can tell you so I'm gonna throw out just the rhyming scheme and the so the rhyming scheme and the rhyming words, right? At least the syllables. But anybody who throws me any ideas, like I have to put it out there that you can't come back and try to claim that you wrote it and I inspired TruthSeekah to write it like you did, as far as like, you know, throwing words out there. I have to say that as a disclaimer because I have had people come out and say that they wrote my music for me, and that's never happened.
Thank you.
Hey, I just want to say this. The only ghostwriter TruthSeekah ever has is the Holy Ghost. Write that down.
And to be honest with you, when me and King James was doing our album together, I took a long time because it takes me a long time to write usually. Dude, and that Joker writes so many. He writes a song a day, and I was taking so long. He gave me like 7 tracks that I had to finish. I was like, bro, I just got finished with 1. You done knocked out 7. So I got all of these tracks sitting on me that I got to do before I can even work on any of my stuff. So he's like, hey man, here's a notebook full of my lyrics, and you just, you know what I'm saying? You can feel free to use any of them. I'm not using these. And Joker handed me a notebook this thick of lyrics and songs that he wasn't going to use.
Wow.
And he gave them to me, and I'm like, I'm honored, thank you, but I'm not gonna like rap your stuff because I'm not gonna feel it. It's not gonna feel like I'm connected to it, kind of thing.
Right.
Which is a big reason why people don't like ghostwriting. You know what I'm saying? So,
true.
But yeah,
good
that
people
happened.
don't like ghostwriting. Good people don't like ghostwriting.
But
I know people.
No,
who do that
I just
for a living.
and I said that to say, TruthSeekah didn't give me credit on the album. On that song, it should have said written by Shield and TruthSeekah and Richie. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of, and you have to say that. So don't give me no lyrics thinking that I'm finna, put your name on the song.
I'm not even attached to my name.
It's weird that I have to say that and preface it, but I've had people, crazy
it's just
people
like writing itself, Nah, man. Integrity, bro. Integrity.
So I'll give you what I got. So let me see where this beat comes in. So yeah, so it's like, burning the sage and lotus, enter a state of focus, sipping cacao while coping, 4th chakra open, yeah. So it's gonna be that slow, run, so open, focus, lotus, coping, the motions, devoted, so devoted, motions, so there's a couple that come. And I'm watching chat too to throw words out or syllables because you know the scheme. Going through the motions. But it is about shamanism. Shamanism being your connection with nature. Burning sage, lotus.
Lotus, well, I'm sure you got potion in there, right?
Nope. And again, though, so with that, when I talk about repeating myself, I've used all of these words that we're getting. I've used them in songs.
Right.
I've used all of these words, and that's why it makes it hard to be like, yep, can't use potion anymore. And trust me, that's the hardest part because I've used all.
It really is hard.
My vocabulary.
It is hard. It is hard because think about Charlie Parker. Everybody wants that same riff that was so famous by Charlie. But if Charlie does that same riff in every song, then he hadn't spread and grown as an artist. So I do get it.
I want to say to I want to say two things. It's like, I don't know if I can put in any words and stuff, but I want to talk about like this ancient Zen saying, right? There's one Zen saying, and then there's like Tool's music. So the Zen saying is, die to the past each moment of the day. So it's like, a lot of it might seem like it's done, but the thing is, like, as soon as you remove that notion of thinking that it's already been done, it's probably something completely new. And I see, okay, so with someone like Derek, okay, so ever since Awaken the Fire, this dude's just been on an upward spiral, you know? And so I thought you peaked at Seer, you know? So, but the thing is, like, there's no peaks if there's no competition with yourself or anyone else, you know? It's just equilibrium.
Well, it's
So
definitely competition
sure,
with yourself, though.
I mean, it's like how you compete with yourself when you know that it's like choosing. It's like choosing between children. You know, if each record is like a child, some children are just different from the others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
no, I know.
I
know people who are wordsmiths like Tech9 and all those guys and Eminem, like they're using all the same words. You know what I'm saying? Like they I don't think it even pops in their head not to. Well, I said that on my first album. You know what I'm saying? They look at it like I guess an homage.
Yeah, I think there's
just gotta keep going, bro. Yeah.
Right. The diversity of dialogue, like how many different darts you have that you're working with, and the accuracy of which you use each of those darts.
I think it's the presence of the Holy Spirit that matters, honestly. You know, like the words are secondary.
Yeah, if it means something to you, for sure. Yeah. But again, like it's different as writing a song, like a poem or a rock song or something like that, where it doesn't have to rhyme. So in this realm where my mind is rhyming on that kick, yeah, gotta get another focus, yeah, hitting it when they open, yeah, and I'm devoted, yeah, puffing on magic potion, yeah.
Don't give away our secrets, bro.
I like, I often, when I rhyme, I'm a very word picture-y type person. So I will rhyme from the word picture. So like one interesting word picture that I thought, just to pass on, the motion of smoke.
Yeah, no, for sure, because that goes back to the first thing that I said, and it like, and obviously you know that what I do is the most beautiful stuff is not describing all kind of different stuff, and because that's kind of like where I'm going with it, until it's like, wait, we got to park here. I need to describe, like you said, how the smoke rises, when I smell the sage, and start expanding on what happens when you smell the sage. Like lower level entities are gone; they're removed out of the room. We clear the energy; it's only positive. The smoke's rising up into the heavens and received as an offering. You know, and so sparking on that.
Is parking on that. And one of the things that I went to a writing class once, and they talked about just like taking any like thing and explaining the hell out of it. Just going in, like, so smelling the sage, like chemically what's happening to you as you smell, like, and so like I get into like that, what hits me with a rhyme. So how can I explain chemically what's happening to me as I'm smelling this sage? It's going into my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the one I say the Nag Champa, it burns and stimulates my senses. The sage I handle dismantles lower demonic systems.
Hey, wait, can you see that? Can you see that? Just put me on like, yeah, there it is. There it is.
What is that, your sage?
No, it's my Nag Champa. I have the sage inside, you know. Oh man, it's really cool. Fantasy becomes my reality. My reality becomes my insanity. My insanity turns into misery. My insanity. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. All right, cool. I got Fred as well on YouTube. Perfect. What happened to TruthSeekah? He disappeared.
I think his dog's in the back was trying to spit lyrics too.
I wouldn't be. Yeah. You know what? Something that I really like from 3 to 3 is telepathically telling me that everything is gonna be all right. Well, oh man, that's cool. I'm just like looking up like YouTube and subscribing to y'all. Basically, does Richie have like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I'm kind of around. Richie Breathe should be a YouTube channel, but I'm mostly guest spotting on other people's and staying in the chaos. MysticCircle.net's where to
That's
find
cool.
us. You connected to the Mystic
Yeah,
Circle?
that's cool.
MysticCircle.net is the spot. You definitely
All right,
got to go there. There's so
now
much
I know
good
where to
stuff
find
there.
you. Yeah,
That's good stuff.
awesome. Oh,
Truth,
So I had a package came in and my dog was freaking out.
He was spitting bars, man. I was like, your dog is spitting bars.
all right. So listen, you guys. I think I'm gonna sign out. Just giving you
All right,
massive
Shield.
love. Derek, you're a freaking. I don't want to go on a rampage of appreciation of like TruthSeekah. You know, I love you guys. I'm really looking forward to the next record. I have a flight tomorrow. I'm going on a pilgrimage again to, you know, just get wild and shit. So I will definitely connect with you guys. You know,
All right, brother.
telepathically, you keep telling me that everything's gonna be all right. All right, hallelujah.
Yes,
I'll see you
sir.
guys.
Peace,
Blessings.
man. Peace.
Yeah,
That's what
man.
they're saying.
How do you do that? Peace.
Almost gone.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, like, and I just said those lyrics, and the other stuff I got is I'm using the same words, and I guess I just got to jump over it, put it out, say, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dang.
there's nothing
Right.
new under the sun. You know, my message hasn't changed. I
Nothing
want
new.
you to get it in a different way. You know, so
Right. Well, Picasso, he'll use the same colors.
yeah, that's
Picasso
true.
will use the same colors.
Only so many elements on the
but
table.
when he put that swirl on it, can't nobody put that swirl on it like he can. And truth be said, man, can't nobody put that swirl on it how you do it though.
Thank
So
you,
do what you do. Indeed.
Congo.
This beat is lit.
Yeah, Congo. I love his essence, his flow.
Shaman over shaming, sovereign over shaded. Communication with the nameless, naked, supported by all
Telling you,
nature.
party at a kava bar.
Yeah.
Medicine woman, earthing with the land, grounded and barefooted. Shaman over shaming, sovereign over shaded. Communication with the nameless, naked, supported by all nature.
Yes, sir. Burning the sage and lotus. Enter a state of focus. Sipping cacao while I'm coking. Fourth chakra open, right? So the cacao dealing with the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. Opening the heart with the cacao. The Nag Champa, the pranayama, the secret doctrine, the 7 chakras. Mantra. Yeah. I just got to knock it out, because if I don't do it and just write what comes, it's never going to come out, y'all. That's why this project's taking so long.
That's true.
It's never going to come out.
Right.
I'm going to beat myself up, and I'm going to be like, well, you said that last year. And
Man, I bet all you got to do is come back from the gym and just decide doing this. Commit to it. Earn the sage, make it happen, and clear it up. You'd be done in like an hour. I know your booth etiquette's
for sure.
fire.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I started writing the other day, and I could have finished it then, but I was trying to do other stuff at the same time.
There's something about like when it's in this before it's written, you know it already exists. You know the song already exists. It's got to just be birthed through you. And in its pre-written state, it's got probably about 7 different interpretations and ways that you can go. It's almost like having a Word document that is not printed yet, and you can print it. Once you print it, you got to commit to that's what it is.
Yep.
But I know you'll do it. It'll be beautiful, bro.
For sure.
And once again, it's gonna be incredibly new to somebody when it's incredibly old to you.
That's it.
Communication with the nameless, naked, supported by all nature.
Medicine man, yeah. Medicine woman.
Medicine man, medicine woman.
Yeah, that might be fun. Stream in the booth with TruthSeekah. Twitch stream showing DAW, letting people noodle around on the inside, maybe for Patreon only members or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do it, mixing. I've been editing videos all morning for a friend of mine. I've been shooting videos, and so I was like,
Yeah.
should go live editing this, People do it all the time, hanging out with
People
the
do
chat.
it all the time. They really do.
Yeah.
Probably the thing about it is that you as an artist, you cutting it off and saying, no, I'm going this route, especially with people offering stuff. I know for me, like I got a woodshed. I got to get away at times because I'll have people giving me ideas and sometimes it sparks it. And then sometimes I got to say, okay, leave me alone. Let me go. I got it. Don't throw me off. Don't mess me up.
I gotta play this just because I said
collab, that's awesome.
I gotta play a little bit of this just because I said it was stuck in my head, and I kind of have a rule that the way I get it unstuck is just to listen to it.
It's a bit like tuning into different radio waves. Depending on what frequency you emit, will decide on what station you pick up. We can create a situation that reflects that
This is Fred,
a more
y'all.
positive experience of life.
They say I'm getting too woo-woo with an in guru that I nickname you Roo. Numa Papa, yes, you Eliu, Avanu Melkanu. Ooh, if they only knew that'll be like woo, we looking at a new me in a fellowship that's telekinetic and cataphoretic, epigenetic and theopoetic. The predicate is ever evident, taking up resident, moving everything as a reference. As every atom is spinning in deference, as if in a dance that's transcendental to instrumentals produced by elementals. Sequential and syncopated flow that's interdimensional, yet comprehended through frequency ratio. Non-local, switch the flow to radio signal. Digital with a fluttering ripple that is metaphysical, spiritual, biblical, and aboriginal. I frequently frequent these frequencies just to freeze up my weakness and free up my mental.
All I do is try to increase the frequency that lives within me. If only I would truly believe I could change the world, but it starts within me. Elevate your vibe, Woody. Elevate your mind, Woody. I said it before, Woody. Here's one more time, Woody. Energies that happen deep concealed within a mystery. Geometric secrecy. I frequently change frequencies. Realize, believe. Real eyes I see. 369 residing in me. Fibonacci spiral sequence. Exercise your inner demons. Activate your spirit healing. Live from the heart and not your feelings. Rearranging, shifting, changing, rearrange me. Oh. All I do is try to increase the frequency that lives within me. If only I would truly believe I could change the world, but it starts within me. Shifting, spinning, moving.
Yup,
There you go.
frequency.
You done did it.
Oh, fire! What? Oh my god.
I like the chorus. That's my first time hearing the full chorus, man.
Really?
Good stuff, bro. Yeah, man.
Thank you
I
for the
heard-
donation,
after
Renee.
you-
Got a donation.
I think after you, I heard it, but I hadn't heard the mix down that you've done that. So that's good, man.
Now, did you sound like you were on timing?
Yeah,
was on
that was
time?
good.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, some good stuff coming, man.
Good. White magic, right?
Yep.
White magic.
White magic for the magi.
Mm.
So one song to go, but I'm still waiting on. Even if I finish the song, I'm still waiting on a couple features. So that's kind of as far as what I have to contribute lyrically. I'll be done.
Let me ask you this, Derek. As an artist, this is kind of what I experienced, that high and that low, that up and that down. All of the energy, the hope, the sense of like getting over yourself and creating this thing out of the ether. Okay. And all that it took just to do that. Now that you're at this place of about to release it and you're hoping that the world can receive it, that's one spot. So one spot at the high of it takes all of this gumption to do it. Then you actually do it and print it. What do you do when you're at the bottom, like empty, and you're like, I did it. I hope the world enjoys. I hope that it helps them. How do you get through that low place as an artist?
I don't know, because it's never over. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Now,
like as soon as the next step is doing videos for these songs. You know what I'm saying? Right. So obviously I'm editing some stuff. Remember, I shot some stuff in Arizona, so I have that edited for the most part, and thinking about shooting some green screen footage with it as well. But my process is usually give a 2-month pre-order and then release videos, of getting the awareness out there with new videos really as fast as you can in that 2-month period while you have a pre-order up, so that people support and people buy your product, and you can hopefully make some money back and things like that. And so that, I mean, that's the next phase. So obviously they won't get it. I think if they see a video, that they're actually more likely to get it. And so the lows on that is the algorithm changes, or maybe even the LCOB name. So there's a couple different things that come into play. Like I remember, putting out videos for my songs, and they got at least 300 views a day. Sometimes they would get like 1,000 views a day or 1,000 views a week or something, and it wouldn't stop. Now a lot of the older stuff, it's kind of gone up, but newer stuff, because of the algorithms, like I may it might not have a lot of views on it. So either paying money or putting a lot of work into a dope video and nobody gets to see it because of the algorithms, kind of sucks. A couple things can come into play for that. I do have another channel. I have my main channel, and I have another channel that is strictly music videos, and people subscribe to that, and and YouTube promotes it a certain type of way. But it's different when people, your click-through rate of different content, and that's one of my biggest problems with the algorithms now, is that some people don't give a damn about what I'm talking about. They want to hear another Jordan Maxwell interview. You know what I'm saying? And don't care about your album. Good on you, but we need Jordan Maxwell back. We need so and so back. So you got all these different people subscribed, or they have clicked on your video once, but they're not going to click on the other stuff, because we only want that side of you, like we're talking about. We only want the Christian stuff, man. This new age stuff, get rid of it. I don't want it. So they'll click on all the Christian. And then the opposite, there's people who don't want Christian stuff. Shut up about religion. Right. Religion destroys. Religion is elementary. You should be far past it. Why do you still believe in these stupid elementary controlling doctrines?
Why are you playing patty cake?
So anything that has to do with Christ or consciousness or prayer or whatever, they're not clicking that. So over almost 18,000 subscribers, they're all subscribed for different reasons, versus like, hey, this is what I do. In that, there is This Is What I Do, which is an umbrella, right? You're getting all of it. Yeah, you're getting Christian stuff. Yeah, and you got those people that's going to watch it all. You know what I'm saying? They're going to listen to my music. They're going to listen to my audiobook. They're going to listen to the Christian talk. They're going to listen to the Muslim talk. They're going to listen to the New Age, the alien stuff. Obviously, they have stuff that they like more. So that's what you have with the umbrella of fighting an algorithm, because the algorithm knows that person saw your video, but they didn't click it. And if 10 more people see it and don't click it, we're not showing it anymore. Versus like, we need everything TruthSeekah. You know what I'm saying? So with another channel coming up, I had the other channel that's strictly music videos. if you like my music, yeah, maybe the best place to subscribe to get it. Because on this one, you may get me praying over you one day. You may get my musings about God. You may get my 10 top spiritual books. You may get a song. It's a little bit of everything. And that's kind of the main thing. But as far as fighting and diversifying through the algorithms has made it hard. Now, 10 years ago, when I first started, killed it. But being able to maintain it and still have relevancy and getting people to see your stuff, that's hard. That's hard. So that's the low. I can make a song about chakras and third eye all day. Obviously I'm using the same word. Like but it's about, getting that stuff out there. Like, why create a song and nobody hears it? And with that being said, I'm still trying to get people to listen to Awaken the Fire, which came out in 2012. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the good thing about creating something with longevity, is that I feel confident promoting my 2012 work today. And you need to hear Chromatica. You need to see the video. You need to listen to Disciples of the Mysterium. Watch the video. You don't know that? Oh, wow. So every other album, and that's a low too, again, you want them to hear your whole catalog because it's good,
Yeah.
I feel like Kanye.
It's a full body of work that you've done, and it has your growth in the process.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, you remember when Kanye stole the stage and was like, we're happy for you, Taylor Swift, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of so and so. Like, I feel like 333, literally, that's a work of art. Whether it's channeled, whether I had anything to do with it, just the features, the beats, the dudes I was working with, the magic, the captivity, the experiences. That is sonically, like, I know for a fact that was one of the best albums of 2015 that many people are never going to experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that I have a piece of art, and it's bigger than just being confident. It's like, go listen to it if you don't think it is, and you'll see. But marketing, algorithms, all of that makes it to where you can have the best product ever, but nobody knows it. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, whatever one's making the most noise. So it's just a part of it. And those are lows for an artist and a creator.
I think I have a theory that's the reason why you had cats like Michael Jackson kind of get forced to stay in this one way of being, to the point that he's going through what just everyday normal people would see as, borderlining on the ridiculous. It's like, why are you working so hard to look the same way and sound the same way? Is because people get stuck on that algorithm. They get stuck on that one formula, and that's all they want from you. And then when you play to it, it's the old story of the emperor has no clothes on. Somebody has to say, hey, that looks crazy. You're not that anymore.
Yeah.
Like an Eminem rapping about,
sobriety.
His earlier sobriety. It's like, you're not that anymore.
Yeah.
Can you still be true to the craft and the art in this new realm of life that you're in?
Yeah, or be able to jump out. I mean, do you know who Chris Gaines is?
No.
Chris Gaines is an artist. So Garth Brooks, at the height of his career, wanted to do pop and rock edgy stuff that he was listening to. Like, he's listening to this new stuff coming out. He loves it. He wants to do it. He's an artist. He wants to experiment. Garth Brooks couldn't have put that out. Garth Brooks put out he created an alter ego called Chris Gaines that looked different, wore eyeliner. You couldn't even tell it's Garth Brooks. So he put it out under the pseudo name so that he could, do it and to fulfill this creative side within him that he couldn't have put out. So, being able to experiment and put out different types of stuff versus we only want country. Obviously, they're gonna say you fell off. Your country fans aren't gonna like it. all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So who else did that? The writer, what's his name? Stephen King was putting out so much work that he created another alias, another pen name, and started dropping all of these books that he didn't even want associated with his name, and they were taken off. And I guess in a chart thing, like most people, you're only as relevant as your last work. So maybe if you got a couple short stories or a couple things that you don't feel are gonna hit like The Stand and like It, but you want these stories out. You want to bless the masses of something you pulled out of the ether to exist, but I can't attribute it to this because this is already a lane, and maybe it's not even horror, right? So so you create a different name, so it's another avenue for him to get stuff out, which I've there's a reason they did that, I talk about whether it's the podcast or whether it's the different topics, or sabotaging my channel years ago doing Pokemon videos and gaming videos. People want to get they're watching tutorials on how to open your third eye and how to get free of demons and whatever else I talk about, and then we got one on how to catch the rare Pokemon. You know what I'm saying? Which is like I love. You know what I'm saying? But I learned. I lost so many subscribers. So many people lost faith in me. My Christian friends thought I was going to hell. And why would you forsake Jesus for Pokemon? It's like, bro, like, this is what I do, bro. But it's like, you can't show them. It goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. You can't let them see you out there playing Pokemon with your family.
Right.
So you got to create these other avenues.
I mean, for me, the way my mind thinks, I think from a theological standpoint, I question, but isn't that interesting? Because what if, in a sense, we're created in the image of the Creator, the infinite Creator, we're following that same fractal design. There is so much to the infinite Creator that he's like, I'm going to express myself through a rock, through a blade of grass, through a person, not just one person, multiple persons, and persons in multiple times, because it's all me. And these are all different aspects of me. And if you get stuck on one side, you can enjoy that, but there's so much more to me that you don't even understand.
Well, I mean, Jesus told the disciples that, we use that as an analogy. The side of that fish, like you get somebody sitting down with not fish, but him doing carpentry work.
Right.
Sitting with the guys, man. Listen, you didn't put a foundation, man. That foundation was wrong, or I'm sure he can break it down on how to build houses and how to do this and do that. But people, they didn't want to hear that. At least those people, not his carpenter friends, wanted to hear it. My friends who loved the game and wanted just to talk to me when I was going live, they were just talking, and they just appreciated the fact that I was live and I was just being authentic. You know what I'm saying? Patricia asked in the chat, would you employ a marketing expert? The finances to put behind something like that, can get expensive, and I've reached out. I work with a lot of publicists for this podcast who send me guests, and they get paid to do it. I don't pay them, but the person who wants to get their name out pays them. And so I've asked how much they charge to even hire a publicist, somebody to get you interviews, somebody to get your work out there, somebody to help you market and make clips and stuff like that. And there's no way. I've got numbers from people, and it's really, really expensive from where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? They want, a guarantee of $3,000 a month for a 4-month minimum. And you need to pay up front $3,000 a month for 4 months. I don't got that kind of money. So I do appreciate when you got people like Fred or people like Richie, helping and asking how he can help, and Richie just offering to take a load off of me so I don't have to do certain things that maybe take up time, and I can create and I can work on the creative aspect of it versus having to do things that, you really should hire somebody else for. So I have a lot of friends who step up, and so there's not a lot of money in this, right? There's a little bit, enough to keep us afloat. But as far as like, I know you got to spend money to make money. I mean, that's the name of the game, and YouTube knows that, and Facebook knows that. If you want somebody to come to your webinar, listen, you got to pay us. and you got to pay us a pretty penny. Like even if you look at the like how much it costs to reach somebody, like you may have to pay $1 for somebody to click on your new video. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it gets pretty like how many so 100 views is $100. Like back in the day when I started, it was organic. So, you know, I hope that there is still organic algorithm stuff out there that people are doing really good, but a lot of it is commentary on social stuff going on that's relevant this week and it's not relevant next week, right? So we can talk about Trump's presidency, and when I do speak on those things, they get more clicks. It's more controversial because the masses are into what Trump is doing. The masses are into, okay, we caught the prophets in a lie. Okay, now here's TruthSeekah talking about it. Now that's not relevant, right? So when I speak on those things, they, you know, people are searching it and looking it up. I just haven't branded this channel in a way that I want to be a creator. I don't want to like give commentary on what somebody else is doing. And usually it's critiquing or talking down, and I refuse to do it. I won't do it. And so I know people have made huge channels and the news is relevant for that, you know, but I want to create something that did not exist, something that's beautiful, that's going to help people. And it doesn't always, you know.
I think in the forms like you're practicing what you preach in some ways, because the art of hip hop is independent from an individual. And if you understand the frequency of why people would want to be a carrier or a channel for that energy to come through, then you can find other people. I'm not really a frontman. That's never been my thing. But I'm a bishop of legend. If there's people who need support, that's definitely where I choose to settle in, because I found how to become the stage manager crew. There's a lot of people I think who want to be creating, but they only see frontman. They don't really know that there needs to be like people in the studio putting the album together. There's got to be people coordinating all the business parts to make that function, because like my new recent thing, yoga is the art of work. And so I'm trying to figure out how to make all of the art of what I'm doing, like a yoga or a sacrament or a prayer, to a larger form of self, because then I'm doing it with like a sense of detachment. And I think that's where the artistic parts, you support what you believe in. And if you believe in yourself, you're supporting yourself. And if you believe other people, you're going to start supporting them too. And so you sort of join to a larger sort of community. Really excited about it and grateful for the opportunity to be co-creating this experience.
Yeah.
Blessed.
Well, again, you know, that's something that I talk about all the time anyway. It's like, you know what I'm saying, building a team, like, and I've had, I don't say problems, because I enjoy everybody and what they bring to the table, but you have this way of finding people that do the same thing that you do, right? We got 17 rappers hanging out. And I tell you what, so I've trained myself to do all of it, to do the marketing, to book the shows, to record, to do the artwork, to shoot my own videos. I do it all. And so even back in the day when I was doing Christian rap really strong with a bunch of guys, I was the only guy booking shows, you know, and every time I'd book a show, even just for me, they would all get a call to show up, you know what I'm saying, an invitation. That was never extended back to me from those guys, you know what I'm saying? Which that hurt early on, right? But they didn't know how. You know, they didn't know how.
The truth is they didn't know how. They had no clue.
You're breaking up really bad.
Applaud. Okay, I'm breaking up bad.
Yes.
Okay.
You in the woods.
I'm in the woods. I'm driving home. I applaud the work that I see, the back end work that you do, from your video work to your graphics and all of that. You really put in the work to get it done. And most of the front cast, just like Richie said, they don't have a clue on how it takes to do all of that. So that's really one of the beautiful things that I see that you really do really good.
Appreciate it, bro. Oh yeah. I mean, that's with anybody we talk about. You know, they don't see what it took to get there. You know, they just see the product. You get to hear, you know, and I say that because of what goes into a song and you guys are hearing. I'm open. I'm showing you my flaws and the chinks in my armor and what goes on in my head, kind of stuff. Other people, you don't get to see that. And so I'll put out a project and people will listen to it in a day. They'll binge it. Hey man, when's the next one coming out? And it's like the day after the release. And it's like, bro, I just put that out. Like, this needs to live and get a life. And and be promoted, you know, and people will say, when's the next one? When's the next one coming out? And you don't know what it took on the back end to create it. All you got to do is push play, and then critique it. Oh, it sucked. It wasn't as good as the last one, and blah 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 blah. You know, so what goes on in the back end, creatively or spiritually as well. You know, the spirit. People don't know what you've been through. They don't know, you know, the time you spent alone or in prayer or preparing for something. They just see once you're launched out in the forefront. And they don't know the people that you're helping. They don't know the stuff that goes on in the secret. And it would took you years to learn how to rap or to learn how to, you know, do something, you know, in confidence, to even record on the video on Facebook or something, you know, like it's been years in preparation, but they can't see that. It's big. Medicine man.
Medicine woman. Yeah, that's gonna be it.
So what's up, folks in the chat? I see Teal Empress, Lemuria, Reborn, Preach. Yeah, man. Hard work pays off, though. That's for sure. And I can tell you the release and the gratification that I get after creating, and there's no words to describe it. And everything pays off. All the hard work pays off. All the waiting, it all pays off once you create and birth it into this reality. That's the beauty of it.
I so resonate with that, man. That's so true. There's nothing like it. One of the rhymes, a new spoken word piece that I said, I cherish the hard work. I cherish the rigor of the work, because the work makes you. As much as you're making, there's a scripture in Habakkuk when it talks about the vision, and it says, speak on the vision, because eventually the vision will speak about you. So you start out pushing the vision and saying, this is what I is, and this one, but it says, speak about the vision, write the vision big, make it very plain. So, and this is what's interesting. It says, make it plain so that others see it, they may run with it. So you're the first one to voice the vision. Then others resonate and they voice it, but the vision eventually takes a lifetime of its own, and it becomes the thing that speaks of you.
Yeah.
But you start speaking of it. You start out by speaking it into existence, and then it speaks of you. But that's hard work. That's rigor. That's constant doing it. And, you know, that's why it's not built for everybody. Everybody's not built for this type of art. Everybody's not built for pushing this out. But, man, that's why one other reason why I think so many people appreciate, that's why I personally appreciate you, Jerry. I see the hard work. I know what it takes. I've gotten up on stage to try to move crowds, and when I got up there with a whack rhyme, or got up there with something that didn't necessarily work, I can tell you my fails. So when I see someone of your caliber get up and do what you do, and the consistency, I was like, okay, this boy is doing his homework. This dude is doing, he putting in the time, because you can't do something of that quality unless it has created and made you and molded you. So that's where I think we salute the gift, because the gift has created and developed you as much as you've worked to birth it into this world. So, you know, that's what's up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, I enjoyed it, guys.
It was good, man. Synchronicity.
Synchronistic prophetic visions that speak in riddles. Intuition, receiving visions of cataclysms, thoughts encrypted, reminder scripted. I don't remember all of it so much.
It sounds dope, though. That's what's up. That's what's up. I gotta get back.
All right, Fred.
Get to home. I'll spend my life. My wife was like, "Where you at? You over, Richie? Much love, true. Y'all take care."
All right, brother. Shalom. Peace. That's funny. Where are you at, baby? I'm on TruthSeekahs podcast. Hanging out with TruthSeekah. Yeah, you should be unmuted. Okay.
Oh, these technologies, man.
Yeah.
Gratitude. For sure. Thank you much. That was awesome being able to build with Sheil and being able to chat with Fred and just talk about how, like, I don't know if you did much Terrence McKenna talk. Terrence and Dennis McKenna, brothers from Western Colorado, really explored a lot of the psychedelic scene before anybody knew about it. Went down to South America, had some of the first ayahuasca and psilocybin ceremonies, actual full ceremony, like actually did the process and had the spiritual awakening. Dennis McKenna, who still lives to this day, like imploded inward and was like, oh my gosh, this is way too much. And Terrence McKenna like exploded outward and became really common and popular, talking about psilocybin as well as the Tao Te Ching, as well as different spiritual and metaphysical concepts. He presented the concept of time wave zero, where there's like a novelty and innovation. And so we sort of have this thing and it's going to get closer and closer and closer. And then the synchronicity, where everything's the same and like all metaverses bind into one. And that was supposed to be the 2012 or 2020 portal. And then now everything's kind of rattling and it's supposed to go back into a giant wave. But what that precludes is that individuals who are focusing on ascending frequencies are going to kind of migrate to the ascending worlds. And individuals in consciousness that are focused on that kind of clutching and not having and anger and rage are going to be in the company of that frequency.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a big sifting or gold panning going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it's really relevant when the world is now at a place where we can discuss about religions across borders. It used to be you could only speak of the religion of the king or of the ruler of the tribe. And if you observed it or had their rituals or burned their incense, that was bad, that was taboo, or that was cultural appropriation. But in a lot of ways, there's actually a respectful and responsible way to identify we're in a global culture and we can share things interconnectedly. Again, to anchor back to that like digital darshan. I've been thinking that at the TruthSeekah podcast for a long time, and School of the Mystics. It's like, hey, I'm going to dial in with this kind of sacredness frequency where people are going to not necessarily measure their words obtusely, but they're going to stand behind what they said because they're really trying to communicate fully rather than just kind of rage face with a funny mask on.
Yeah, now that's been something that a part of what I bring to the table, right? Syncretism and people of different paths coming together, right? So if we do a show on how to open your third eye or how to contact ETs or something like that, and then we do one on the love of God and the Bible or something, you're going to get two different audiences. The ones that stick around are the umbrella audience, which are the tribe, and so a lot of those people who hang out or maybe jump on Discord together. So I've created my platform of one who has a said tradition or religion that fluctuates. It's not, I'm not bound by it.
You proclaim it and you live it kindly.
Yeah.
Right. You have a strong foundation, and the things that are building, you're not strictly only using one kind of architecture, which I think is cool because a lot of times people don't know how to do that yet. And I think it's more the banality. They just don't know rather than them being necessarily evil about it.
Yeah. So I've trained myself to have dialogue with others, to talk to people of different faiths and belief systems, contrary to what people who think, contrary, and to not to give them a platform, but to just have a conversation. And it's not easy at all to have somebody belittle you or
admire your patience. Right.
That's what I've learned to do. And it caught on, right? The TruthSeekah podcast caught on. We got people listening to this day because of that. Whenever we tried to turn that into a community, which we already have, with Discord, there was, because I've learned to do it. I've learned to sit with a round table with a Muslim and a New Ager and a Christian and atheist or whatever, and to find commonality, because it's there somewhere. You got to dig, you got to look for it, but there's a commonality. But when we would do like Discord, just because I can do it and my work is based on that doesn't mean everybody can. So I remember people telling people off and people not knowing how to hold their tongue, and you're going to hell because you said Jesus wasn't, and all of this stuff even taking place in the Discord community that has the New Ager, the spiritualist, the shaman, and the preacher or the evangelist coming together, and they're fighting in the Discord community because they don't get to see like I see. But it's a realm that can open them up. But there was so much of that going on that I had to and they would run each other off. Like people who were like, yeah, I ride with TruthSeekah, man, I love what he's doing. And they would fight and run each other off.
But you
out
got
of
to
the
have a core clique
Discord.
of people be like, no fighting here. This is where the light and the dark can be friends. We chill and hang out and sharpen our ability to communicate rather than like, no, this is only light side. Because I've seen it absolutely. And it's hard to want to maintain a circle with people who are going to constantly dicker back and forth each other. Because what are you building? How can you make sure everybody eats if that person's going to say that that person shouldn't eat? Like, no, everybody eats. We're all here together. Like, that's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Much appreciation for what you've been doing and how it works. I think the observation of the synchronicity is probably what drew me most when you posted this. Synchronicity is getting weird. Yeah, I saw your post on socials. Yeah, things are getting more synchronistic. But then I slowed down and I thought about it. And I was like, I wonder if we're just becoming more perceptive to the synchronicities or if they're actually more happening in volume or mass. But regardless of which of those it is, they're more, the riptide's stronger. It's easier to be in them. It's easier to identify with that synchronistic state as home.
And again, just like more people, you know. I can't say that they're ramping up as in particularly like I'm seeing so many. I see them daily, but that's like what many people are saying. Yeah, been happening to me for years. Like it's not ramping up, but what's ramping up is that more people are doing it, or you know what I'm saying, noticing it and saying something about it. So that's one thing.
Absolutely. And the more you bring light to it, and the more you bring attention to it, the more that frequency is able to express itself unfiltered and unabashed, rather than like, all right, here's a paywall and a bunch of gates where you have to even learn about the fact that we're all synchronizing.
Synchronized with what?
So there's a debate, right, though. So there's Kairos and Chronos. So Chronos could be seen as Jupiter, which is like the clock time, which is like we're babies and we're born and then we grow old and then we die. But then there's Kairos, which is the experience of life. And so Kairos could be that the time in the studio feels like 3 days, even though it was only 2 hours. Or the time that you have to make food for people feels like 5 minutes, even though it was, 4 or 5 hours, but you just got so involved in making sure all the sauces were right and all the dishes were correct, and then people show up. So that time dilation, I think, is a shared experience. You're going to find communities and tribes and people who you can renunciate your belief that Chronos time is rule. Because with the right person in 2 or 3 minutes, you can go super deep. And with somebody you don't know, in 2 or 3 minutes, it goes by really fast. Because you kind of have to like adjust to each other's orbits and find pressure zones and who's sensitive to these words and not sensitive to those words. Rather than like the two big things I'm looking at right now, trying to intentionally misunderstand people correctly. So if somebody says something to me and I could like be offended by it, I try to lean the other way. And like, what might have they been trying to say if I would like had their language already?
Yeah.
And the other one is ominous positivity. Everything will work out. Just have that as a theme. Like no matter how hard you try, things are going to be great. No shit, really? But that kind of positive feedback loop I realized is missing from communities and tribes, just because I don't got very many cliques of people I spend too much time with. So when I am revisiting them, they're all looking for like the Gandalf, what's the stories of the other side? And so we're all responsible for bringing things back forward.
That's it. Great word, brother.
Gratitude, and super stoked on the, numerology on Thursday?
Yeah, we have our numerology webinar going on the Mystic Circle. So that's going to be Thursday. You guys can get access to that. Anna is going to be with us. And so we're talking about synchronicity. Synchronicity is numbers, you know what I'm saying? And so we just got to add the numbers up and see what it's saying. You add those different numbers up. So see what Spirit's saying. And that's going to be fun because I really enjoyed the first one that we did with her, or the first episode that I did with her. That was like a freaking, example of the numbers. And so it's going to be good for sure.
I'm really excited about people who are more serious about things coming forward, because it was kind of looking at people who want to interact. And for me, the past few years has been finding different podcasters and musicians. And like, you can reach anybody now. You can send them a message on Instagram or on the internet. Then I started dialing into some of your School of the Mystic stuff, kind of traveling around, hanging out from my friend's kitchen. Like, yeah, I kind of know some of these people. And then over time, recognizing some of the faces, seeing some of the people and the names. And now people want to bring gifts forward. And so Anna was super excited about being able to share. So I think that's an awesome opportunity where people can keep carrying things in that direction. So looking forward to it and super grateful for also this broadcast today. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, being able to facilitate that and showing people, again, that testimony of if it can be done. The narrative is that it can't be done. You can't get you can't get these two people who are on opposite ends of the spectrum to get down and have dinner or do an event together, do a retreat together, do a podcast together, do a song together, whatever it is. Like, hold on. Yeah, you can. You totally can. And you know, you showing people opens up those neural pathways to what can be done. So therefore, they can find that, no, I don't have to argue, or I don't have to win every conversation. That's huge for me. I thought I did. I thought it was my honorable duty unto Jesus to win every conversation. For real. Like most Christians believe and teach that. There's scriptures like that would kind of give that notion, but there's also scriptures that say, hey man, like go with the flow, love everybody, find peace, find common ground. So it's like you get to choose. Like what realm are you living in? What is your reality, even within that text, you know?
Definitely.
The Muslim the same way, like, you know, kill the infidel, or there's like other things about, hey, that's a holy war within your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All of that's symbolical, and it's all allegory, just like all the beautiful religious texts are. And so, you know, what truth do you believe? What strain of your religion are you smoking? You know,
and even further in that, how do you live? Because if you believe one thing but you live differently, man, those are cool. Like that's a cool theory. But the actual way that you move and what you do, what you click on, who you spend time with, what you listen to, when you speak up and say, hey, that's enough, versus when you let people kind of figure it out on their own. Yeah,
that's deep too, because with that, we got this realm of virtue signaling. Right. And I'm going to go on a podcast tomorrow, and there were some people, I'm good friends with the guy, but they're going to make me talk about LGBT stuff. I don't want to talk about it. You know, and they want to know that somebody gets them and that kind of stuff. And I told them that I will. You know, we're talking about other stuff too, but I don't want to be like a walking billboard for your for your virtues. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fight your battles for you. That's up to you, your movement. And so I have to, you know, I'm going on, but I have people who are in those crowds, man, you know what I'm saying? And they look up to me and they listen to me, and they want to know what I believe, and that whatever my stance on one thing will throw my entire catalog out the window. So even
for the people who are focused on the minutia, but I think part of that is you can sift the fans, because the people who want to know what you know so they can judge it are different than the people who want to know what you think or what your thoughts are today, because tomorrow they could change, so that they can begin to see you with a different level of depth. I don't really think that people are trying to take pot shots at the preachers, but when I see a pastor at the grocery store, it kind of gives me a moment of humanness. Now, if they lose their cool, or somebody I have as an example kind of paints a bad picture, it's up to me to humanize that and to maybe not throw them under the bus because they have a differing opinion. But a lot of individuals,
both,
right? Oh, totally. People playing it too safe and too violently.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. The violent stuff turns me off. Violent. Well, what do you say? I say violent. We'll just use a different word.
Combative, aggressive.
Combative, aggressive, zealots.
Yeah, for sure.
Religious
zealots are only good in StarCraft. StarCraft is the only place zealots are worth it. Like
vegan zealots, LGBTQ zealots, but then, you know, racist zealots. But then they throw themselves out there, and they kind of like say that they have to be zealous because there was so much pushback and so much opposition that we have to be violent. Hell, Christianity expanded because of its violent nature, you know, and those people who took it and used it that way. So, you know, but I'm turned off by that. I don't want to. I don't want to. Sure. I don't want a piece of any violent. You got to calm your ass down. You know, I'm being honest with you. Like the messages that I get from some people wanting me to be their mouthpiece from my platform and stuff because I'm open to
right. I'll curve two pieces that can weave. Right, and I think that's really important. One of them is like you don't make everybody you talk to your brother.
That's good.
You talk to them and you're respectful, but not everybody's your brother, Truth, which is great, because then when you rub somebody wrong, or when you really get like Sadhu Das, that was so awesome. You got along with them super solid. And it was like, this isn't play. You're not acting like you enjoy this person.
Hey man, you should come over one day.
Right. You're having real conversations. So that kind of, you can't treat everybody like your brother, because then what's the point of you being your brother? But the other side of that I think is more relevant to this piece is it's a hard sentence to muster until you understand it. Violence is golden. Just like gold, you want as little as possible to get the point across. You only want things to be as absolutely combative as they must before it can be peaceful again. Because there can't be a world of all peace. There needs to be some kind of friction, some kind of tension.
Yeah.
So ideally, to me, it's wrathful compassion in words. I'm going to talk to somebody, we're going to disagree, and ting, ting, ting are words, rather than actually going fisticuffs like when I was younger and people wanted to like, hey, well, I know this. in the energetic form, it's way easier to big up somebody and give them that health potion and give them that mana blast rather than to like, oh, I'm going to take a dig at you across the internet, because it doesn't really work. So as much as people may be kicking you down, I think that you're lifting up a huge ocean of believers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it can work though. There's mob mentality, and there's cancel culture, you know.
Yeah, I mean, arguably that's hard not to think that the first 2 human beings got canceled because they ate an apple. I think there's something to people denying and saying that, no, I deny this versus I don't think this is proper.
Yeah.
Because you could not think something's proper and then learn about it, or you could just straight deny it. And I think that's also part of the showing a spiritual Instagram or a spiritual internet face, because then, well, who are you, at the grocery store? Yeah. Who are you with your family? Who are you with your kids? Who are you when the person rear ends the back of your car and dents the bumper? Are you still spiritual then?
Yeah.
Are you still going to remember to breathe and all that stuff? Or is it something where you're living your message so that in the event that something happens, that it was a spiritual car incident that happens? You're buying some spiritual groceries. Mm-hmm. So is it lead by example, no drama, no hassle? It's an Illuminati Congo line for sure.
So that's what I'm be doing tomorrow. I'm going, I think at the same time we go live here, 10 a.m. Central, going live with Conscious TV. And it's been a while since I have, but he has an eclectic audience as well. I would say most people are in the gay and trans community. That's a part of him. He's a friend. He's been the longest podcast that I've done on here, like over 4.5 hours. We did that podcast, like beautiful guy. But I think the interview that I did with my friend Ariana the other day, the lady who was like in the trans movement and then like turned her back on it or whatever, and some of the things that I quote unquote let her say, or may have been nodding my head or said or let some things out that wasn't on other shows. People are like, hey, how do you really feel about this community? And for it first, and so I guess I'm going to address that tomorrow, or try to. And like you said, there's going to be both of those people. There's the piranhas, and there's those people of like, okay, like I get it, you're an able-bodied white male, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but I don't even want to be a part of that discussion. I do want to be a part of the discussion of like, unconditional love and acceptance for anybody. I may not agree with it. And if that's what we're going to talk about, that's what we're going to talk about. But that podcast is already scheduled. So if you go to YouTube and type it in, you guys can hang out with us tomorrow in the chat. Conscious TV with a Z. Conscious TV. And it'll type in TruthSeekah and it should come up. But that's scheduled for tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have a fun talk. It's with Devayan. And I see people who are in our chat today from there, I guess because they've seen it and they came to check me out. So we have a lot of eclectic people, gay people, straight people, trans people. Like, I'm not an expert on any of that stuff, and I really don't want to speak too much on something that I haven't experienced.
I hear you. Right. So throwing a little bit just in the bucket. I came up around backstage theater a lot of like 7th, 8th grade. I got into shows, wanted to do more tech stuff, but did a little bit on stage. So I've been in full makeup and worn different neon clothes and sang and danced and done the thing. And that's where I learned a lot of different kinds of sexuality and different kinds of preferences. There were more effeminate or more masculine people of either genders. And I definitely learned very early on that it was all about how they treated me. If they treated me like I was a piece of meat and they wanted to treat me poorly, then I don't care what gender you are, that's not okay. Yeah. And if they treated other people in that kind of callous, primal way, that's not okay. Yeah. But if they're unconditional and loving, okay, that doesn't mean that they're instantly forgiven of all their behaviors. It's a matter of people's individual merit proves them. And I found through this dilation of time, especially now in the non-binary cultures, and I tend to see a lot of my friends as swarms of bees. They're just like a hive consciousness and they don't really claim a gender, but I know their physical body has a gender assigned to it. I just respect them in kind of not identifying the thing that they don't want to talk about. It's, to me, mandating language is the problem. You must call me this, you must call me that, because then it becomes you're controlling my magic than controlling my love.
Yeah.
Right, because the love is something that doesn't need the word on top of it. Like we were talking about, there's the title and then the name and then the comprehension. But once you have the comprehension, the name and the title, those aren't really as important. So the controversy that you're speaking of, I want to hear it. It needs to be said.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to you bringing that up. And it's like fencing with the tip on. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're still going to like execute and do the things. But there are not enough people who are speaking out their feelings, honestly.
But I think some of those people even want to help me too, not to get caught up with some of the aggressive stuff out there too. You know, I don't like the aggressive stuff on anyone. And I know, again, if you're marginalized people, you know, I demand you to call me by my name, right? If you have, you know, I don't know, I feel like they try to use other plights as their own. We're going to talk about it. I know I can't even, you know, talking with you, but this is a whole channel that is that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about spirituality, but I know those questions are going to come up because he put it in the title. And I talked to him on the phone the other day, and before we got off, he was like, "Hey, I got one more question," but I think that was his main question. Was like, "Hey, how was your stance changed on it?" I was like, "What do you mean?" So, there's a movement of people that are marginalized and that you know, they want to belong and want acceptance, and obviously the ones who are in listening to this show want to know my take or my stance, not that it has any bearing on the price of rice in China. So
for sure, they want to know another one from a person that they hold in a certain office of respect, rather than saying that they're going to copy paste yours and make it their own. And I often find that confusion is what causes.
I don't like that though, because I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. You know, anytime that it's like you got to choose, like you're either for me or against me, and you know, and I don't really like that. You know,
right? I guess in my mind, I'm excited to see you be a warrior in the garden, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of loaded heat and pressure. But like I've seen gardeners in war, and they don't last very long. So it's a matter of being aware of what you want to be bringing to the conversation, because whatever grows there is what you're going to water.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's always,
I can be honest, and I have been honest. I want to avoid the conversation. Really, it's not my thing. Like I'm not.
And when it comes up, nip it in the bud and say, "Hey, this is what I feel about this. I want to make sure there's no confusion or controversy about it. This is this. This is this. If we disagree, we can stop this now, and we don't even got to worry about it, rather than trying to build it all, install it into something else."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, you want to know, like, it's one of those, again, what it says, it's not a win-win situation. Like, you want to know that the people you look up to or the music you listen to, it changes things when you find out something about them. A TruthSeekah is a homophobe, or a TruthSeekah doesn't like gay people, or, well, he likes gay people, not trans people. I started talking to him about trans, and that's where he draws the line, you know, and so damn what I think. What do you think? Like that should be the damn
right. I think a lot of the way to get people to share what they think is to share what you think with an open end.
Yeah.
Because if you share what you think with a closed circuitry, and that you're not trying to have the conversation,
well, that's definitely
like,
who
for
I
me,
am.
a while it was like I haven't met anybody in my life who has gone through a transition that I was able to keep up with. It always felt like they were burning their own life. And then I saw other people in my life where they were able to. They made a transition either backwards, with or without hormones, and they did that, and they were able to maintain some conscious congruity of their spirit. So it felt to me like something that was really good. Other times, people met some new friends and felt like they got infected with a brain virus, and then they came out another person, and they don't feel anything like they used to.
Well,
right.
Both of those are scenarios, but you get a realm of people who said there's only one. No, that person was trapped in the wrong body, and they need to have surgery, and everyone should do it.
That's a zealot talking.
Yeah. Versus, so, hold on, let's hear their story, because they may have a change of heart. There is such thing as regret.
Redemption occurs. Yeah.
Regret. There is, you know, trans regret's a huge thing, and once you cross that line, it's hard to go back. You know,
I mean, in some ways, it's a trans intellectual conversation.
Yeah.
Because we're having discussions that are.
But again, at the same time, still, I don't even feel. I'll give you my opinion, but what is my opinion? Because I'm not that person. You need to ask the person who's going through it.
Exactly. Like, you are, and your opinion of asking that person is valuable.
Be cautious of anything you do. You know what I'm
You're saying don't judge that person based on me. Judge them based on the development of their own merit, and that's part of what needs to be said. It's like you can't just blanket statement members of any community and feel like you're going to make progress. If you need a figurehead, ideally that figurehead's going to say, judge yourself as a part of the community. If you want to be on planet Earth and you want to decide that people hate each other or people love each other, that's on you. To me, the synchronicity, I think, is choosing to make the conversation something you want to have, even if you don't want to have it.
Yeah. And I guess for those who aren't going to listen tomorrow, I've had a lot of gay people on the show. People I didn't know were gay until they told me, or until I looked at their husband in their profile picture on, you know what I'm saying, different authors and speakers and all that. I didn't even know. And beautiful people. Nobody who's ever rubbed me the wrong way. One guy, we almost didn't do the show because he got zealous, like in my messenger, about like you have to be our voice piece kind of thing. Like you have to echo what we say, and if you don't choose a side, then we're coming for you. I was like, oh, don't threat. Where I'm from, we don't threat. You don't throw threats, because then we're enemies. We're not just in a disagreement. You don't threaten me or my family or my platform or nothing, right? So that's where we become an enemy. So I've had that happen, but no, I do have questions about, you know, transgender stuff. We should, man. Like, you should never, and this is what Charlemagne says, but you should never make what is it? Never make a lasting decision based upon a temporary feeling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you know that you know that you know, give it some time, man. And that's what marriage. People get married on a whim. They divorce next week, next month, next year. Know that you know. Give it time. If you're in the wrong body and you need to change, well, I knew my whole life. Okay, well, that's between you and your creator. I ain't got a damn thing to do with that. What my opinion is, but don't make a lasting decision based on a temporary feeling. Somebody, you know, like, you need to calm yourself down, think about it, get out of your feelings, and give it time. Because if it's true, if it's divine, it's going to keep coming. It's going to be that's not going anywhere. So if that comes with the transgender conversation, then so be it. I'm not a transgender, but I will caution you to be careful, because once you go back, once you cross the line, ain't no coming back. You know, I done seen people, you know, if they're happy in their skin, then I'm happy for them. You shouldn't, life is too short and too precious for you to go through this thing depressed and miserable. But you'll find out a lot of people's testimonies, once they've changed over, they were still, it only lasted a week, and then they were depressed and miserable again. And the one thing they thought was going to change, a lot of people, I'm going to use a marriage as the same way. They were attracted to another woman. They thought that if they went there to go outside their marriage, that it would fulfill something. But they left their marriage and they're still depressed and miserable, and they still think the grass is greener on the other side. Slow your roll. Give it time. Don't make no lasting decision based upon a temporary feeling, man, because feelings change like the wind.
Maybe that's what they're asking to hear about. Maybe that's the conversation.
Play them that snippet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, get it dialed in and be like, don't rush to judge. Don't rush to snap. Don't rush to say, you don't know. You ain't been there.
Yeah.
So, amen to that.
That's with anything, bro. That's with anything. That's with me saying stuff on here that I'm gonna regret later. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you in your feelings, just because you mad. And I've practiced restraint. I've had to. We all do. With your job or with what you do for a living. Go to work and tell your boss how you really feel and watch what happens. Give them a piece of your mind, and just because it'll bring you peace. Well, you're going to deal with it in a letter in the office, a pink slip, and you're going to be gone, standing in the unemployment line. Well, you may be happy you got it off your chest, but some of the stuff you may have to just wait till the planets align to step out and do what you've been thinking about doing. So.
True.
That's wisdom, man.
Wisdom is knowledge applied, and you're speaking of this knowledge as though it's something that you've embodied. It's not just something you gleaned or got from a book or pulled up from a meme. And part of that is the way that you say it. Anybody can read the script, but the measured tone in which you share the words, and the fact that you're hearing your own voice and you believe the words that are coming out of your own mouth may be the recipe people are asking for. Is what does authenticity sound like? I don't need to agree with your authenticity, but I'd like to hear your side of it, your perspective of the rainbow crystal as it goes.
It's just another perspective or another box that people even place themselves in, and I try not to see that box. I try to see the person, and I'm big on that. I try not to see your ailment. I try not to even see your belief system. Damn your beliefs. I try to see you, and that's what my master taught, and that's what I try to do. So trying to get my take on whatever topics that don't concern me, is not what I'm here for. So
For sure.
But
Coming from another.
who knows? It'd be fun because I love Devion, man. He's amazing. So we'll
I'm
have a
excited
fun
for the
talk.
conversation. Yeah, it'll be supercharged and powered coming from another person in the shout. Super grateful for everything that you're doing. Please continue to do the awesome. And yeah, you got another one tomorrow, and then is it another one on Thursday too? You're gonna be like 3 days in a row.
Shoot, man, we got a lot of stuff going on. I think I got okay, so Thursday I'll be doing another podcast with Clint and Charnel on their show. They're starting. I'm sorry, Craig Martin Walker and Charnel, and she's been doing a lot of stuff with Carrie Cassidy and Laura Eisenhower. They've been doing streams that were like, thousands of people watching and stuff. So I don't know what it's going to be, but they're gonna interview me tomorrow. So that's something that's going to happen too. So I'll be sure to share that out when it happens. No, actually that's Thursday. So let me see. So tomorrow's Wednesday. Wednesday we got Conscious TV with Devion,
Right.
and then I have a podcast Thursday at 10, and then I'm immediately following. I'm doing Charnel and Craig's podcast. So yeah, talking heads. We're gonna be talking dirty, playing the hits.
Dang, I'm glad you're going to be working out and taking the time away from the computer box, getting out to stretch, drink the water, breathe the air.
Yeah, man.
Good food.
Oh yeah, I've been working out. Well, I was supposed to
go.
go this morning, didn't go. I'm kind of glad. I'm sore. So
Dang. All right. See, so if you were doing Tai Chi or boxing, Chinese boxing, you'd use this is a soft day. So you do soft exercises today.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get back to the Tai Chi and the Qigong because I love doing that before a workout. So I'll probably be in the gym doing Qigong before we start working out. But I love it
all the time.
I love it. It's been a while since I've done it. Because I got out of my routine of doing it before a workout. But I love Qigong for sure. Nice. I know that's close to your heart too.
Yeah, sharing that kind of stuff. Actually teaching yoga classes once a week, private by appointment, and then body work through the Mystic Circle as well. And that's things of yoga and breathing and Qigong and Tai Chi, all the different energy forms. But you are nurturing yourself. You are the tree. You are the light. Doing well. Gratitude. And many thanks for all the listeners, for sure.
For sure. So let us know one technique we can do while sitting down before we leave this position. Qigong.
Dang. Okay, for sure. Qigong technique, sitting down, gonna take a second and pick up your feet and put your foot down. Got to kind of reset your roots because you imagine at the bottom of your feet, little tree roots grow. So every time you move those a little bit, you can kind of break those and spread those out. Wiggle your toes a little bit. You wiggling your toes. You can notice how that causes your body to feel. You're going to be displacing about a gallon of blood right now just by moving your toes. By wiggling those 10 little digits, you're pulling all the capillaries and veins and busting around all this liquid. So after you feel that flow moving, you got all that energy going. I want you to see if you can imagine lifting your arms above your head without doing it. Well, go ahead and try it for the first time. So you breathe in and lift up your arms for the real. Do it for real. So just breathe in. Breathe out. So you use your arms manually like the bellows. So now don't move your arms, but breathe in. And breathe out. And you can unify the feeling. So now you don't even have to think about breathing in, but you can still get that wave of peace. And then that wave of peace, you can make that process independent. So if at all possible, the Emoto things, thank your water, send love to it. But right now, just for a moment, all the blood in your body, which is water, go and send that love. Taking a breath in. Grateful for the water that makes you inside the marrow of your bones, inside of the squishiness of your skin. Turning the filter inwards, establishing the foundation. From here, we'll start laying bricks and building. Gratitude.
Oh, man, good stuff. Yep. And so Richie teaches those classes, man. If y'all want to do a class with him, he's on the Mystic Circle and he has his own practice as well. Rainbowcrystal.org.
Yep, that's it.
Rainbowcrystal.org. Appreciate it, Richie. Enjoyed it, bro. We'll speak soon. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother.
Stay healthy. Yes. Peace.
All right, shalom. Peace. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy conversation. We went all over the place. We talked about a lot of stuff. The synchronicities are beautiful. They are breadcrumbs from the Creator. They are kisses from God. God winks, some people call them. I call them God winks, is what people say a lot. But a lot of people commenting on it on my Facebook. It's happening. More people who you would never expect to talk about this are now forced to, because it's happening to them. Weird things are happening. Twilight Zone moments where it's like, hey, you're on the right path. Something's going on. Something's watching you. Something or someone is definitely trying to get your attention. with that, we're going to say peace and shalom, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do it again. You heard my itinerary tomorrow. Got another one coming up with Conscious TV. Then Thursday, we got 2 more coming up. So that's what we do. We're going to create. I'm going to finish a song, and the album will be done. Be waiting for these collabs to come back, and White Magic will be ready to go to all of you magi out there who are looking forward to it. Peace. Shalom.
Your way so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.